Oh, hello. Oh, there we are. Hi, hello. This is Terence McGuana, and this is my old friend Crow, who I've known for over 20 years, and I haven't seen in about 10 years. And
Well over
we're 12 years, my goodness.
something
And
like that,
this is, we're getting together and we're going to shoot the breeze about Star Wars and other science fiction movies and ideas and stuff like that. So I hope you all enjoy yourself and leave us a comment, and I'll do my best to respond. I'm still a bit rusty with the whole live thing, so bear with me. So Crow, really good to see you, man.
yeah.
Awesome,
You too,
isn't it?
Terry. Man, it's been far too long, far too long.
I know, way too
I know
long, honestly.
I've been in Sweden for coming up for 9 of those years, so
Oh my goodness, that's unbelievable. It's just time just flies, and I was just to kick things off as well. I actually just looked on the internet today, and hold on, just got into this thing. There we go. And Attack of the Clones was released on May the 16th, 2002, almost 20 years to the day. Would you
yeah.
believe?
So between
I
the
remember.
12th and the 16th, depending on where you were in the world.
Yeah, yeah. This is the United States release, according to Wikipedia. And I remember us being a bit divided back then. But what are your feelings? What are you? And we were usually divided on everything, right?
That's
That's
what
what
made
it's
the
all
best
about.
of the kids. So Fallout, also walk it back to yours. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What are your feelings now about the prequel trilogy? 20 years on.
I mean, because what is it? My wife has some younger siblings, and that was their Star Wars. You
Right.
get me? It's like our Star Wars was all about like the Civil War, all the where the background came from, Civil Wars. They were our grandparents were still alive, and they were involved in like the Second World War and stuff like that, or they were old enough to know what happened around about that time.
Yeah.
But then you've got the kids that are like they're now in their like early 20s, late teens now. That was their films. That was their Star Wars.
Yeah.
That
True.
was all about uh, financial corruption and trade embargoes and stuff like that, if you look at it. But, as a kid, when they were watching it, they were just like, "Okay, this is, gummy-looking robots, meh, 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 fighting against Gungans with their mad eyes."
Yeah.
But it was for kids watching it at that time, because I'm seeing it from somebody else's point of view. At the time, I mean, I was when it first came out, I was like late teens. You're an edge lord in your late teens. You want to hate everything, but when you get older, you kind of soften up a bit. You're like, I can see it from somebody else's point of view now. So seeing it from their point of view, and then
Yeah.
when I try to show them like the old trilogy, they're like, "What is
Right.
this? What is this crap you're trying to show me? This
I
is
know.
garbage. This is like." I can
Wow.
see the set moving with things. You're like, oh, but this was great for my time. And then that was like the CGI graphics and stuff like that started coming out around about that time. It was like it was still in its infancy,
Yeah.
but it was still like top tier for the time. There was nobody else. ILM, they were in charge of all the special effects, and to this day, they're still pushing the boundary with special effects. But we can get to that more later. But
Right.
now when I look at it, I can see it from my adult eyes rather than my late teens, early 20s, like edgelord, like following what other people say about it. Now
Right.
I don't care what other people think. I only care what I think and my family and friends think. That's it.
Yeah.
Anyone on if I've never met somebody before, I don't give a shit what they think. You
Right.
know?
No, of course. Would you like to hear my take on the prequel,
Yes,
the
yes.
prequel trilogy? Well, I actually don't mind the prequel trilogy now as much. After the
Same.
last
Yeah.
one, after the last one, it had a coherent story, regardless of the quality. It had it had a goal that it set out to do, which was we're going to see how Darth Vader came to be, and it, regardless of
Yeah.
how wonky in parts,
And the
it
Clone Wars and all that, yeah,
yeah, it fulfilled that goal. It did fulfill that goal, right?
definitely.
Whereas I felt with the reboot trilogy, it was tying itself in knots. It really was a dog chasing its tail for me.
We'll get to the
Yeah.
the new trilogy after we've discussed this one.
But I think the sort of hindsight for that is what's made me appreciate the prequel trilogy more. But at the same time, I think the first part, and I've discovered later as well, was it the Phantom Menace, which is probably the weakest entry, right? Is
I mean, it
it's
still had pod racing in it. I mean, I showed
yeah,
it to my kids. They got
right,
excited for the pod racing stuff. So seeing it also not just for my wife's younger siblings, but also my own kids.
right.
They preferred that trilogy to the old trilogy. Even though I'm trying to just watch, come on, watch these were
Yeah,
my sons growing up.
yeah. Check out the sideburns; they're brilliant.
Aye.
You know,
Check out the campness.
yeah. And but what I was going to say is that George Lucas, he was the Jedi Master, right? And when he made Phantom Menace at that time, he was surrounded by yes men. And it was almost like, I would say that the Phantom Menace is an
Studio
example of,
executives, yeah, studio executives. He was
well, no,
he was on his throne, surrounded by everyone.
yeah,
Yeah.
he was the emperor. It was the emperor's new clothes, I would
Mm.
say, because for instance, there is footage of George Lucas at a sort of script meeting where he's got the storyboards up on the wall and he's plotting out how they're going to do this scene and everything. And they've pretty much shot it all anyway. But he's looking at all the storyboards and he's sort of banging his head against the wall because he realised that he's got too much going on at the one time. He's got the battle with the Gungans. He's got the Darth Maul duel going on, and he's got the raid on the palace, and he's got Anakin out in space, all happening at the one time. And no one's there to say, do you know what? I think you need to sort of take some of this out. I rein it in.
But
Exactly.
even then, it was still like Star Wars cut and paste. There was a land battle. There was the personal duel. There was the space battle. It was still the Star Wars cut and paste that we're going to expect it in pretty much every iteration of that. What the Skywalker saga?
Yeah.
It's personal battle, sky like space battle, and then a land battle. You know what I mean? You're not going to get that's the formula. That is your Skywalker Skywalker saga formula.
Right.
And it's in every single one of the films pretty much.
Yeah. It was good that the new television series that came out got away from that. Well, no, they couldn't resist it. Actually, they had to bring them back. Yeah,
We will
yeah,
get those ones
they
because,
will.
like I said, with the front running with the VFX and the special effects and how they did that and how they changed it for the entire industry, those ones
Yeah.
in particular, we have to get to those. But we'll stay on point and we'll go in chronological order.
Well, yeah, exactly. But also you got to remember that the Phantom Menace was, I think it was one of the very first films that was shot digitally as well. I don't
Yes.
think it was.
Well,
I'm not sure. Or was it Clones? It might have been Menace or Clones. That what we're all discussing.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying is that it was a pioneering movie, but at the same time,
I can see the chat now. I know what's going on.
right, excellent. See, I was not too impressed with it. I remember seeing it the first time, the Phantom Menace in the cinema, and being okay with it. I particularly enjoyed Darth Maul. I thought that character was quite interesting.
Short-lived,
Right?
but I like that they're going to be bringing
Yeah.
him back. They brought him back with the Dave Filoni Clone Wars,
Right.
the animated version. They brought him
He
back
turned
for
up at the
that.
end of Solo as well.
Yeah, they gave him more of a backstory with that. They gave him like,
All right.
okay, he's too good of a character to just go. You got this double blade. You're like a absolute master, like Sith bad
Yeah.
guy, and then all of a sudden you just get chopped in half and you disappear. Bye bye. They're
Yeah,
just like, no,
yeah,
we can't leave Darth Maul there. We need to give him a backstory. We need to give him like, and the Clone Wars animated version. Obviously, I've watched it. I've watched it with my boy. I want him to get into Star Wars.
yeah. I bet you do.
Yeah, absolutely. My little girl's obsessed with Boba Fett though, or Baby
Right?
Yoda. She loves Baby Yoda, but she also loves Boba Fett. She loved
Doesn't.
it. She got frightened when the Rancor turns up. Spoiler warning.
So did I.
Spoiler alert. Yeah.
What when? What you mean
I just got excited. Yeah.
in Return of the Jedi?
No, in Boba Fett. Book of Boba Fett.
All right. See, I haven't seen all of that. I've seen bits of it.
Jesus,
I've,
I can't talk about it and not have you getting spoilers.
I just go for it. To be perfectly honest, I've kind of fell out with Star Wars because of that last trilogy. I was
I
sort
watched
of,
that. We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
yeah,
We'll watch the new ones because it's so different. It's like how like the old westerns, like spaghetti westerns and all that were filmed.
yeah.
Exactly the same kind of transitions. It's the same movement. It's the same kind of.
I seen
It's the same
the
flow.
Mandalorian. I watched all of
Yeah,
that, but
yeah. Mandalorian was a western in space.
I'll get to that because there's something in that that really got my goat, and it
Did
involves
it
that.
irk you? It
Yeah,
irked you.
yeah, it really peed me off actually. But the Phantom Menace. See, to be honest with you, I did not have a problem with Jar Jar Binks. Do you know that? I know at the time everybody's like, "Oh, this horrible character, Jar Jar Binks," and I know that people see him as kind of a racist caricature and stuff like that, right? And
Why?
because he's kind of like a sort of Rastafarian sort of alien. I don't know,
Ugh, fuck's
right?
sake. If
But
everyone has to fucking bring that shit into everything, man. Fuck that.
you know, and the actor himself almost attempted. I think he almost killed himself over just the
Yeah,
amount of
because
like
he was an African American gentleman. I forget his name.
Amit
I forget
something.
most of them. I forget most of the names of the people and the things anyway, apart from the core people. I mean, Adam Driver for the new one. That's the one I remember. And that's it.
Oscar Isaac. The
Oscar Isaac, yeah, because he was in the new Moon Knight.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
see,
I can't even remember what was it, Jay, or Finn. I can't remember their name either.
oh, John Boyega. Oh, he's a brilliant
John
actor.
Boyega, yeah, he's good. And Jay, what was her
Uh,
character's name?
Daisy Ridley.
Daisy Ridley. Yeah.
Well, see, the thing is, yeah, I didn't really have a problem with Jar Jar Binks. I saw that character as this is the character that's aimed at the children, the small children in the audience.
This is the new generation's Ewoks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what I could see it for that. I mean, yeah, none of his sort of comedy stuff really landed with me, but it wasn't enough to really annoy me.
Watch Jar Jar. So all you've got to do is just if you've got like if you're around kids and you put on those films, they'll laugh at Jar Jar. The dialogue, the stories for you as an adult, right?
Yeah,
But the comedy is for the children. It's
yeah,
like the
exactly.
Ewoks.
And
It's
I
like
saw
our
it for that.
Ewoks. I mean, and even to this day, we're of that age where we love the Ewoks. We
Mm.
still, I love the Ewoks.
I
Right?
like the cartoon and
I love the
Caravan of
Ewoks.
Courage.
Yub nub. You know,
Oh, yeah, the Yub Nub song, and they took
yeah.
it out. They took it
They
out.
took it
Yeah,
out. Yeah, when they revamped it. Yeah.
don't even get me started with that. A mate of mine has got the despecialized edition of Star Wars,
Okay. Has it still got
whereas,
the Yub nub song in it?
of course,
Okay.
it's basically a bunch of fans have meticulously fixed the original trilogy. This is an unofficial version of the
Yeah.
original trilogy, and they have despecialized it, so it's close. It is perfect to the original
Okay.
trilogy you can get it, and it's unofficial. It's not licensed by Lucasfilm at all. It's
Oh,
amazing.
it's one of those ones.
Because yeah,
I
speaking.
mean, look at the Star Wars Christmas special, right? That was
Oh, why talk about that? Come on.
it's actually on Disney Plus.
All right, yeah,
If you want to see it, you can see it, but it
But that's
is
that George Lucas
it
has
is
no he has no control over that now.
no.
So
It's he gave up the IP. Well, he
yeah,
sold the IP for a rather large sum of money.
I watched it with a hangover about 15 years ago on YouTube. It was dreadful. Wish I never watched it.
It's absolute
With
garbage.
the
But
yeah.
it did start a whole bunch of other stuff that is brought into the new scripts, where they mention stuff like Life Day.
Oh yeah.
It's like Star Wars Christmas, but they mention Life Day, but that was only ever mentioned in that
And that
special.
yeah.
But then it's brought up just in passing. Oh yeah, it's for Life Day, and it's just like, what the fuck is Life Day? Sorry for the swearing, but this is going to happen now. I've had
Ada
quite
just
a
said
few glasses of wine.
Baby Yoda is definitely the highlight of the movies.
Oh,
Yep.
Grogu,
Yeah. Oh, is that his name? Right. Baby Yoda.
Grogu. Yeah.
But although she's never been a die-hard fan of sci-fi, she's
Well,
more of a horror fan.
oh
Ada.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But the Star Wars Holiday Special. It was. I remember first hearing about it in the 90s that it was this myth that there was this television special.
I saw it. I saw it when I was like a kid. I remember
Right.
it because it was round about the time of like Caravan and what was the other Ewok film?
Uh, Battle for Endor.
Battle for Endor. Because what was my dad was able to get all those pirates
Right.
from his mates. I mean, you've seen some of my dad's VHS, right? But
Hmm.
we'll no mention that. But his way of being able to get these types of films back then, it was bootleg, right? Bootleg films. He got
Hmm.
hold of it, and I saw it when I was younger. You know what I mean? And I enjoyed it as a child because I thought it's twee and camp, because I
Right.
love my twee and camp sci-fi like Battlestar Galactica, Buck Rogers in the 25th Century,
Bidi, bidi, bidi.
beady beady beady. That stuff was great.
Yeah. But see, aye, when you go off the topic of this Star Wars Holiday Special, it is absolutely
Right,
awful.
let's move on. Let's move on to the new trilogy then.
Oh yeah. What I was going to ask you actually. Hang on. See if I can get this stupid question up. There we go. Um, there. How do you feel the prequels compare to the rebooted trilogy that started with Force Awakens?
Um, Coherent narrative for the prequels. That was the thing. It had a linear narrative, but
Yeah,
it also had its like side story, which was traveling along at the same time.
I had a
So you had that,
prophecy.
you had that kind of run in parallel, and you had the prophecy here, but you had the actual storyline there, and it just kind of it ran in tandem.
Yeah,
This one was it was more uh, it's kind of forced. It was rushed.
the Force Awakens.
It
Yeah,
was
it
forced.
was, wasn't it?
It was forced awake. It was forced awake when it didn't want to be woken up. You know what I mean? It just wanted to lie in. They
Hmm.
should have. I mean, the films themselves, the special effects, the VFX, I mean, all that stuff, the extravaganza, absolutely brilliant, right?
Right.
It was just the narrative behind it
Yeah.
was a bit pants.
I felt that well the thing that really got my goat was they introduced this character Finn, right? Who was and they established that the First Order had stormtroopers who were human beings as prisoners,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he
It was to
escaped, and he
take away that whole clone thing. Yeah,
yeah they took away the clone thing, and these were they were like children, like in that film Soldier with Kurt Russell, which I think is quite
yeah.
underrated, right?
That's a great.
Uh,
I actually really like that. Yeah,
yeah, that thought that
it's
was a
another
good
one of
film.
those sci-fis that I went underrated, like Space Trucker.
Uh, Hold on, got a wee question here from Video Tasties. What was the first Star Wars film you saw in the cinema? Mine's was Jedi. Well, snap, Gareth, that was me as well. Return of the Jedi. And I'll tell you an interesting thing. You'll probably testify to this as well, Gareth. Is that I actually came in halfway through. No, towards the end, third act of Return of the Jedi. Saw it from Luke Skywalker being in the throne room with Vader. The movie finished, just sat there, and it started again. You could do that. You could do that back in the early 80s.
That was the old reels. Yeah.
You could just stay there all day, and they didn't mind, because the cinema was not making money in the early 80s. It was dying on its knees, to be
Yep.
honest. And that was the first time. And the stupid thing is I'd only seen A New Hope at that point on video. I hadn't seen The Empire Strikes Back, so I was completely and utterly confused at 4 years old, completely and utterly confused, but just wow, the visual spectacle was just nothing quite like it. The whole scene on the barge with Luke Skywalker taking out all those guys, I was just thrilled by that as a child. And then the whole space battle, and I think for me that's probably one of my favorite space battles is the Return of the Jedi. Well,
That's a good one.
interesting bit of trivia, right? And I only know this because of my partner. Is Nien Nunb, the co-pilot with Lando in the Return of the Jedi? See the language that he speaks, Atrere, right? It's Kikuyu. It's a
All right.
Kenyan. It's a Kenyan language.
What
The
was he
guy,
saying?
um, oh, oh, put it in the comments. I've got some Kenyans there. No,
You better go ask her.
yeah, but I don't remember, right? But yeah, it's Kikuyu that he's speaking, and the reason, if I looked this up, the reason that he's speaking Kikuyu is not because of the actor in the suit; it's because of the voice actor. The voice actor spoke Kikuyu. George Lucas went, "Oh, that's really cool. Do you think you could just do that for the
Well,
rest of the?"
let's use a language that nobody really knows in the West.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's it. That's it. So Nien Nunb speaks Kikuyu, so he's he's a
Wasn't
Kenyan man.
wasn't the Ewok language like a cross between like an African language and like Cantonese or something like that? Or is it Vietnamese? I can't remember. I think they said
No,
they
I'm not
just kind of
sure.
crossed over like two, and they said yip, 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 yip. It's like it sounded weird because it was like two different
Yeah,
languages that shouldn't ever mix. It just kind of mixed.
I know it's strange, but yeah, I've always because I have said that to people in Kenya as well, because they go, "Oh, do you speak Kikuyu?" And I'm like, "Oh, atrere." That's all I know. Just a line from Return of the Jedi. But where were we? Got sidetracked there. Yeah, the rebooted
Mm.
franchise. Um, my
It
biggest
was.
pro. Oh,
Mm.
on you go.
No, it was like I've just been repeating myself.
Right.
It was rushed. Yeah.
I think they buckled to the fanboys, or the trolls, mainly the people that were trolling the film, because
Uh,
when you and I saw Return of the Jedi back in the day, right? No one from the outside had any influence on it. No
there
one.
was no way of influencing anything like that because
Yeah,
anytime you got news from it, it was already made.
that's it.
You
It
know,
was
and
in.
because of the internet, it's like they're filming it now on this stage on this lot,
Yeah,
and then it's like, uh,
that's all you know.
what are people doing? You know, what I mean, what are the actors doing? What are the studio executives doing when it's downtime? They're sitting there on their phones. You know, what do you do when you go to the toilet? You're right on your phone looking through garbage. You know, you're
Yeah,
just like, oh right, okay, what's Britney Spears doing this week?
because like
Just like
Instagram.
you've got to fight the clickbait.
Yeah,
You're like, I don't want to. I'm not even interested in Britney Spears. Why is my finger going towards it? Because it's just targeted at click now, read this, and it's just some opinion piece by some idiot that's just trying to
yeah,
get their get their quota up for the month because it's like because people in that kind of media, the written media now are so underpaid they have to just write anything and then it's a clickbait title,
I know.
and
And this is
it's a
this is who
shame.
this is who dictates to the studios on how the film should go. That's what I'm saying, is that with Halloween Ends, it's like, oh, here's what we've managed to find out about Halloween Ends, and they all start talking about it and talking about it. By that point, the studio gets wind of how the fans are saying, yeah, Ray's grandfather is Palpatine. Great, that they're all coming up with all these theories. So they're
Yeah,
like, do you know what? We better give them what they want, because the idea that we've got is a bit more upsetting, a bit more.
Because it
Um,
was it in the books. Was it some of the books that were written? They're not canon, but it was there
that's
was
right,
a son and daughter of Leia and Luke. And
right,
they were the ones that came in to balance the Force.
that's
So
right.
one
Yeah.
went dark, one went light, but they couldn't really bring that in from the books because then people were expecting that kind of story. So you got Adam Driver's character, Kylo Ren or Ben Solo.
Mhm.
I mean, he was actually quite good in that.
Oh yeah. I
As
think he's a
that
terrific
character,
actor.
he's a fantastic actor. He was very good in that. He was very
Yeah.
good in that with what he had to work with.
Yeah.
That
Oh yeah.
was
He made
yeah,
the
and
most
he
of
he
it.
he made
Absolutely.
it. He did it well. He played that character well with what he was given.
He
You
was.
know,
He's kind of like if I don't know if when I think about the characters that I probably identify with the most, that's probably him with his mad strop.
oh, the one where the two stormtroopers are coming along, they just immediately do a
They're just
180
like,
and walk the other way. It's like, no, well, I'm not dealing with that
oh,
today. I'm not
yeah,
dealing with an angry Sith.
uh, yeah, yeah. That was kind of interesting to have
We were just going to come and give
stroppy
him troop
character.
reports. I'm not dying for giving troop reports.
But the thing that really annoyed me, right? So I felt that because of all the on-set reports, not just the on-set reports, but it's like, oh, we've got a leaked script, and they don't. They're just making stuff up.
Nah,
And
they're
then
they're 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 just trying to get traffic coming to them. Most of the
exactly,
time, it's like they're bullshit artists.
and I know that the films were just shrouded in secrecy. It was almost like working on Star Wars. You were working in the CIA all of a sudden, which I'm sure that back when they were shooting Blue Harvest back in 1982,
Blue
right,
Harvest, yeah, everyone
right,
thought it was like a soft core porn.
right. Well, with that tin bikini,
Yeah,
maybe it was, but the same time, the it's just a shame that the fanboys, the trolls, whoever it is got so much influence
no,
over these
there's
films.
so many people that can't let go of. They look at the old films and they sit there going, that's how I want every film to be. And you're like, you can't get that because if everything's just so stagnant and all you're doing is just a remake and a remake of the exact same thing over and over
Yep,
again. I mean, the new trilogy was kind of like a remake of the same thing.
yep,
But then again, it's just like this is the film we want. We want the same actors, we want the same scriptwriter, we want all the same. It's like you stop being a child. You're an adult now. Let go. Let
yeah,
go. Let creatives be creative. It's like somebody coming along and going, right, with me, music is a big thing as well. It's like Metallica, you're like, everything should be Ride the Lightning, their first album.
yeah.
And then they bring out like, the Black Album and stuff like that. And people are like,
Oh
no, I still
no,
want it to be I still like
but artists. That's the
the
thing.
Ride the Lightning.
Artists
You're
are
like, yeah, no, they have to be able to
create.
just evolve and create.
Yeah,
Creation is an evolution. You know what I mean? You have to be able to keep creating.
that's
You have to create
progress.
better things, progress, things come along. We've got computers. Why have we got computers at the power? We can now talk to people from, I don't know where some of these people are from, but I'm guessing some of these people are not
All
from
over
the
the world.
UK or Sweden. And I can talk to you from Sweden. You're in the UK, you're in
Yep.
Scotland, and we're doing it live. That's because of progress. That's because people were able to create stuff without being told they have to be stagnant.
Yeah.
And being
It is.
stagnant, it brings out this kind of pious thing. It's like it's the piety that a lot of people have with their old sci-fi things that they want to hold on to the past so much. You're like, no, the past
I'm
is
too
gone.
stuck
Let
in
go
my
of it.
ways.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
this is how I want it to happen. Just let me do it this way. It's been this way forever, and it'll ever be this way as long as life is.
But you see
Rubbish.
that brings me to this point. I might this might be an unpopular statement, but I really liked the Last Jedi,
That
which
that,
was
that
the
I like the bit where all those ships just turned up out of nowhere, and if you freeze frame it, you can see all of the ships from all of the different franchises that have
all right.
that have came out. Like what is it? The one with was it Star
I'm
Wars
thinking,
Rebels?
All right.
You can see the Phantom in there. You can see like all the different ships that were in Star Wars, all the individual ships, from the
Okay.
Rebel side, because all the Empire ships, they were all kind of like very uniformal. But then if you look at that bit, and they all turn up and they save everything from this dark void. And the Emperor Palpatine robot things like, yeah, yes, Skywalker, him coming in.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
you're talking about the Rise of Skywalker. Now that was an abomination to me. But the Last Jedi was the Last Jedi
Sorry,
was
Last Jedi.
the Last Jedi was the most divisive one that people, from what I gather, right?
The second one.
Because yeah,
Second
'cause
one.
that's the one
Sorry,
where Luke
sorry.
threw away the lightsaber at the beginning. Everybody like gasped in the cinema. And also they had a Vietnamese character, well, a Vietnamese American actor.
Oh, she was one
Some
of the twins. She was one of the twins, and one of the twins died in that. Like the
yeah,
worst,
attack at the
the worst
beginning.
design for a spaceship ever.
Yeah, with
A
bombers
slow
in
moving
space.
bomber.
Yeah, I had its issues, but to be honest with you, I thought it was the one that had the most heartfelt moments in it that felt like Star Wars. And I'll name two of them, right? And that's what I'm saying. This movie is completely hated on, and I liked the way it was subversive. The things that happened in it weren't what you were expecting. Like
Yeah,
the Emperor with the Chancellor Snoke is, I don't know if the Supreme Leader Snoke,
this guy is
where
Supreme Leader. Yeah.
when he gets killed, nobody saw that coming, because for the whole, I think, year and a half before the film came out, they were all like, "Oh, what is this Snoke character? What is he all about?" And they all had their theories. They all had their theories. They all had their
Oh,
theories,
he
and then
was a clone of the Emperor. Blah blah blah. Yeah.
yeah, and then they just killed him, and it was. I was like, yeah, I like that. Because it took me. I watched it with my partner, and she gasped at that moment. And that's what you want. You want a
Yeah.
reaction from your audience. Don't just want
I get that. That was the first
comfort
time
food.
where what's it? Uh, Kylo Ren and Rey got together and started fighting after doing
Yeah.
their over what was it? Their what would you call it? Their quantum chatting.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
the force chat. They would sit there, and go, "Hey, how you doing?" And he's sitting there like jacked, going, "Hey, how's it going?"
Yeah. And Luke Skywalker became Charles Bronson at the very end with the pure. You know what I mean, just like that was brilliant. But see, what really got me, and honestly, I had a tear in my eye, was Leia using the Force for the very first time.
That was the Mary Poppins moment.
Oh,
You know what I
see,
mean?
I know everybody called it the Mary Poppins moment, and do you know what? So what? Mary Poppins is
No, I think
Mary Poppins is brilliant.
it's called the Mary Poppins moment because of the VFX freeze frame that kind of happened with her. Because if you look at it in a VFX point of view, it's just kind of freeze frame, and then she's just kind of across the screen. You're just like, oh, damn it.
Oh, you just think the effect let it
I'm
down?
not talking about the effect of it. The effect of it was
Okay,
the Mary Poppins thing because it
I
was
was I had
basically
a
it's like
tear in my
click.
eye.
She's going to go from here to here. How are we
Yeah,
going to do that? And then
because
she
not
just
only
went,
it was by that point, by the time that film had come out, I'm sure she'd already passed away.
was it
Carrie
not?
Fisher.
No, no, it was by the time it came out, but not by the time it was filmed. Yeah,
Yeah, she'd already passed away by the time that was released,
yeah.
and it was one of the things that was one of those things that we'll never. I've never watched Star Wars. Oh, Natty, you're not missing anything. But yeah, um, I had a tear in my eye, not because of Carrie Fisher, but it was just because it was one of those things that we'd always discussed for decades. It's
Yeah.
like if she's Luke's brother, how come she didn't do this? How come she didn't do that? Right? But that takes me to another point that I've always this is a theory I've always had, and I think I've discussed this with you many years ago, right?
Aye.
In A New Hope, right? Princess Leia is captured by the Empire, and she's put in a cell, and they bring in this floating droid thing with a syringe, and I
The
know it's just a it's
interrogation, the interrogation droid. Yeah.
is that what it is? Yeah,
Yeah.
and I know it's just there. Oh, scary
Wow.
needle for
Wow.
people that don't like
Wow.
needles, right?
Wow.
And then
Wow. Wow.
wipe to
Wow. Wow.
back to
Wow. 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 Wow.
Tatooine,
Wow. 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 Wow.
right?
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
We don't see what that is all about. And I've always had this theory that it was because they're trying to find the rebel base, right? So they can destroy
Aye.
it with the Death Star, and she won't give it up. So I've always assumed that that was a truth serum, right? You know, because they don't need it. She
Seems
doesn't need
like a
it.
boring show. Geesh, those characters. That's hilarious.
Right? I always thought it was a truth serum that was in that syringe, right? And the reason that I know he George Lucas made her the sister in retrospect. Like that was kind of done after the fact because you've got that whole sort of incest element in The Empire Strikes Back.
No,
So
I don't think it's yeah. This is a kiss in the lips. You're just like
potentially,
that's
potential incest
that's a close family.
as a right. But so I always thought, well, okay, if you want to take the Phantom Menace as gospel and so as everything else,
Yeah.
then this is what I think is it's midichlorians. Midichlorians has
Although
saved the.
those things that he tested on the Gillette Lady shave. Have you ever like see in the first Phantom Menace
Uh-huh.
when he goes, he's got that communicator and he goes, here, test the blood sample, and he sticks
All
it in the
right.
communicator. That's a Gillette Lady shave from the
All right.
90s with some bits attached to it. Because I noticed that the first time I saw it in the cinema, I was like, that's an effing Gillette Lady shave that he's using as a communicator. So he's literally the actor himself. Instead of being like what you can see as the prop itself is essentially Liam Neeson talking into a Gillette
Mm.
Lady shave and going, please check this jaw.
Well, that answers a 20-year mystery, and also explains how your legs are so smooth. But the thing is, no, but in the truth serum, it's the midichlorians that is combating the truth serum, right?
Okay.
She cannot be poisoned by these guys and give up the rebel
She's
base.
also from the royal family of an entire planet of Alderaan.
Hmm.
So obviously she's had some kind of training to go against that type of stuff. Because it's like if you've got warring factions, it's like the ones that are the head of the warring factions tend to have all this more and more advanced training. Even today, if
Right.
you look at the royal family of the UK, was it Prince Harry? He flies a he flies like
Helicopter.
An
Yeah.
Apache, not just a
Yeah.
helicopter, an Apache
High trash.
helicopter. Yeah, one of those. And that kind of goes with you train the higher ups of the ruling families with more, you give them better training, that type of thing, to put them
Mm,
higher up the ranks. So it's like,
yeah.
even then, it's like you can teach a princess of a warring faction how to deal with an interrogation droid from
Yeah.
the Empire, that type of stuff. It's like,
But that
here, we're going to jab you with a serum for a couple of months, and you're going to get used to it.
okay. So
Yeah,
I
you can think of it
suppose.
that way. That's
Well,
another
yeah,
theory.
she
Yeah,
was on the run, from the the Empire at the beginning.
and
But yeah, it's just
Alderaan never wanted to be part of the Empire. That's another one of
see
it
that
as well.
that's the thing I've always annoyed me. I mean, this planet has had a song about it, and we've never ever seen it. Alderaan is like it was the planet they were going to, and it got destroyed, and but I don't know how many times we've been to Tatooine. I'm sick of Tatooine. Honestly, I feel like Tatooine is like Byers Road in Glasgow. Been there so many times, I'm sick of sighting it. You know, I
Yeah,
don't like sand, right? That's why you never see Darth
I
Vader on
don't like
Tatooine.
sand.
That's why you never see Darth Vader in Tatooine. Because he
He
just
doesn't like sand. Yeah.
gets a sandcastle kicked in his face every time. Calm the
It'll get
desert.
in, it'll get into his like robotic activators when he's walking along, because
Mm.
C-3PO was just complaining about that. This is good to get into my joints.
See, with the new Obi-Wan Kenobi show coming up, I'm interested about that. But we're back to Tatooine again. But at least, hey, that's
Well,
justified, right? It's
it's
justified to be back.
justified because Obi-Wan Kenobi was there to look after Luke Skywalker and keep an
Yeah,
eye on him, because that he was like, I need to look after this guy, because he's like,
yeah,
he's gonna be the big daddy that comes in and puts
yeah.
level to the force. But you also know about the sister, but he's like, she's all right. She's adopted
Aye,
by a
she's
royal
got.
family. She'll be fine. But
Yeah,
he's been adopted by a moisture farmer on like a pretty volatile planet. You got Tusken Raiders jumping about the place. He's like, I better keep an eye on this wee guy because something could happen to him.
But at the same time, the trailer makes it look like he better watch himself. He might end up on the register.
Well, I'm looking forward to the Darth Maul story that happens on Tatooine.
All right, of course.
Darth Maul ends in the cartoons.
Right.
Darth Maul ends up going to Tatooine, and you see an older Ben Kenobi, and they have a final duel because Darth Maul doesn't die. He doesn't die. He gets dumped off into like some kind of like a planet of junk, like still in half. Right, he's still in half. So he has to like make legs out of whatever he can find, using his force skills to keep himself alive, and then he ends up being like some kind of mad spider that goes mental, a Sith spider person. And then when he's actually on, thank you, beautiful.
Oh, that's right, Hayden Christensen. Cameron Muirhead says Hayden Christensen's back as Vader too. Cool.
Oh, cool. Maybe he might have had some acting lessons since then.
Yeah. What's this? You're either with me or you're my enemy.
I hate sand. I hate sand.
I hate all of them. I love his acting because I'm used to it now. I expect it.
It's up there with Nicolas Cage when he can't be bothered doing that. When Nicolas Cage when he can't be bothered doing the character.
Yeah,
there's a couple of, like, in The Knowing. Have you ever seen his stuff in The Knowing? It's just so dry. Yeah, Knowing when you see his delivery,
plane
it's like,
get
out the car. There's something coming now. It's like he's done. He was done with that role by the time that line came up. And Nicolas Cage has those things, and then there's other films with Nicolas Cage, and you're like, "This is brilliant. This is absolute madness. This is fantastic."
Yeah.
Like the new one that came out where he doesn't say a word through the entire film.
Oh, that one with all the toys that he's got to smack.
Oh,
about.
the animatronic band.
I never saw that one. Something Willy's Wonderland.
Willy's Wonderland. I suggest you watch it. It's absolutely hilarious.
I was put off for that because I didn't want to see him not talk.
He doesn't say a word through the whole thing, but it is absolutely one of his finest, like, performances.
I think one of my favorite.
He does it so well.
One of my favorite Nicolas Cage performances is in Face Off because he's playing two characters. When when he plays Castor Troy at the beginning, he's just bug-eyed, crazy Nicolas Cage, and then when he's playing Sean Archer, it's such a great. It's quite subtle as well.
You've got John Travolta doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, they're both good. And they're such a love
crazy or understated. Crazy or understated. Both of those actors do that well.
Yeah. And the only way you can tell that it's who's the right person because they do this stupid thing with their family. It's like, oh, it's me. So cheesy. Brilliant.
I think we're going off topic right now.
Stuff is fine, but more Star Wars. Star Wars, give me Star Wars.
See if we go into like the new Star Wars stuff.
Yeah,
like, starting off with the Mandalorian, the VFX technology that came from the Mandalorian,
right,
has completely changed the industry.
With the LCD background thing,
the LED pixel wall in the background. It's like they use PX1 screens, so you've got 1 millimeter between each pixel.
Okay,
and that's what makes it so depth. Because I've worked with those screens before doing the live stuff, and it's usually the PX6 or the P6 ones that you use, and that's like 6 millimeters, or the ones you see at the back of the big stages at concerts. They're like P10. Because you're so far away from it, you're not going to notice if there's like pixel distortion if you get too close, because you're already like 20-30 meters away from it when you're seeing the screen. If it's got 10 millimeters between each pixel, or each pixel's 10 millimeters, you can't see that there's distortion there. So it's like that pixelation. But the ones they use in the video for making, that's called the void. So what they do is they have like like a kind of circle here around the people
Around the
of
set.
LED screens, but then they have one that comes in from the roof to give some ambient light.
Okay.
So when you say to an actor, and then you get the set artists to come in and go, right, we want you to make a like a mud planet or a sand planet. So they come in and they put the set dressing up and stuff like that.
Right.
But then when you turn around to an actor and go, like when you're using green screen or blue screen stuff, like kind of green screen, like
Yeah,
better
for
than
the
this. It's actually ironed.
Phantom Menace
Sorry,
type of
sorry,
stuff.
folk, I didn't iron my green screen, right? um, when you see that stuff, is that you're trying to explain to an actor that they have to read their lines, they have to give this delivery, and they have to imagine that they're on this planet and there's a thing behind them, right? And when they're green screen and blue screen, and so you're not getting 100% of the performance. But when you have a video screen behind them, and when the camera moves, the background moves in a kind of parallax behind them. So it's from the camera's view that you're going from the parallax. You can
Yeah.
turn around to your actor and go, right, you're on this planet. This is what it looks like. And behind you is this. And you can turn around and you say, oh, there's a big giant sand beastie standing
Yeah.
behind me. That's what it looks like. Now I know how frightening it's going to be. So then the performance becomes better. And
Right.
also
Well.
with like the shiny helmet as well, is like you can have the sky above them, and that's the
Yeah.
ambient light coming from those screens gives so much more depth to the VFX and the special effects. And that's called the void. It's the
I
technology
just
that
got
ILM came up with.
just got an interesting question there,
Yeah.
and it's Black Money Core. Terence, who is your favorite Star Wars franchise character? Right, and
Oh,
you know, it's changed throughout the years, right? In the original, when I was a child, Han Solo, I think Han Solo was everybody's favorite character, right? But see, as times went on, it's Lando Calrissian, and do you know why? It's because when I was younger, I always thought, oh, Lando Calrissian, he was a traitor, right? He sold out his buddy. Because when you're a kid, you didn't really understand. You're just like, oh, he meets his friend and then sells him out to Darth Vader.
you
And that
never
scene,
you never gave a thought that he's got millions of people he has to look after. Yeah,
precisely, yeah. And that's the thing is he made that tough decision. That's what I like about Lando is he had to. I mean, right?
yeah,
He doesn't know Leia, Luke, and Chewie. Well, he knows Chewie, right? But he doesn't. He has to make that decision to save
yeah.
these other people. So he does
Is
make
it
a difficult choice, but it's a heroic choice.
are
And I
millions
always,
of people's lives worth this scoundrel who stole my Millennium Falcon? Yes, I
yeah,
know him from the past, but I'm not going
yeah,
to risk. I'm not
exactly.
risking everyone's life on him. Yeah,
And I always didn't like him. I always remembered when it was in the film when Chewbacca is going to strangle him. I was just like, just do it, you know. I just thought he was a traitor because I don't think they established it because they didn't have the budget and the effects then to really make it look like a giant city, right? I know they had this model, right, but you didn't feel the actual um,
scale of it. Yeah,
scale of it, right? And
you didn't
they didn't
realize that
spend,
there was families living there, men,
yeah,
women, children,
yeah. They've got the whole
all
they've got the
living
whole
there.
place
Yeah,
like held to ransom here, right? So yeah, I love Lando, and I don't know what when they had him in Solo, Donald Glover, and he's
I
having
like
this.
Donald. I like Solo. I can't
Mm,
knock Solo. I just liked it. I liked
I
it.
didn't I didn't hate it. To be honest with you, I don't hate any of. No, there is the Rise of Skywalker. I absolutely loathe, but but Solo I didn't hate. But the whole part about him, I think they were quite lazy with Lando there, with him being just a pure Lothario, right?
Well, the thing is that you can
And
think where from that where he was until we see him again in Empire Strikes Back, how much of a character change has happened to him? He's no longer got his Millennium Falcon. He has to go do something else. So
mm,
losing the Millennium Falcon made him the essentially like the prime minister of an entire floating city of people that he had to look after. So if he didn't lose the Millennium Falcon, he would have just kept being a scoundrel. But because he lost the Millennium Falcon, he went, I need to change what I'm doing. I need to up my game. And he
mm,
became he became the prime minister of a floating city on a gas planet for
Yeah,
refueling starships.
but
You know
they,
what I mean? That
but
can't,
did they not?
and
Were
between
they
that
not?
time, it has to change.
Were they not implying in Solo that he was having a thing with the robot, the android, the droid? There's a droid in it.
Yeah.
The sort
Oh,
of
the one that
the
he ended up
righteous
putting
one that's
he
like.
they ended up putting the brain into the Millennium Falcon.
That's right, the one that
Yeah.
C-3PO argues with in Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, they
Yeah.
sort of tie up all these things, don't they? Really annoys
It all
me.
ties together. It's like C-3PO goes out, she's like the rudest nav computer I've
Because
ever
he's like,
spoke to.
"How? How? How?" He's like, he's just so like offended by this thing, right?
Yeah.
And the Empire Strikes Back, that's the Millennium
That's
Falcon
yeah.
onboard computer. Oh, that
But
annoyed me.
I think it was like the whole thing where they wanted to see that people could get emotionally attached to their droids. Because like Luke Skywalker's obviously attached to the best character in Star Wars, which is R2D2, right? Hands down, that little tin bucket, best character.
I seen him in person, Kenny Baker,
Yeah,
at the Glasgow comic thing a while
rest in
ago.
peace.
Yeah, the other one was there as well. What's his chops? David Prowse. Didn't get to talk to them. They were just you just couldn't get near them. They
Nah,
were just
you can't. It's like and you've got to remember that they see so many people all the time. It's like
you have to wait. You
es-
have to really wait your
especially these
turn.
things, they turn up, they go there, and they're just doing the motions. By the end of the day, they're tired and they're just like, oh, come on. I love meeting the people. I love making the people happy, but you
Richard
realize
Keel was there. Jaws
there's
from Moonraker. Big Richard
oh yeah,
Keel.
yeah, yeah. I just
Yeah.
watched what's it that Happy Gilmore
Oh yeah.
again,
With the
like the
nail in his
first
head.
time, yeah, the first time for ages. So it was like I sat down, family film, and I was like, okay, my boy will be able to understand some of this stuff. A lot of the stuff he's
Right.
not going to understand, but he just thought it was hilarious, you know. And then I was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, there he is, Big Jaws.
I thought Greedo looked really cool. I thought Greedo looked really
Yeah,
cool. Someone said that when I was young, Greedo was my favorite because he looked cool. Yeah.
nice.
He had that. I love how Greedo has that kind of 50s alien B movie alien look about him that you
Yeah,
would see on a science fiction magazine cover. Like if they were being invaded by a whole army of Greedos, you would
if you
it wouldn't be look out of place at all.
if you like Greedo, read Tales from Mos Eisley Cantina.
All right,
Because
I've heard
it's
of that.
lots of little short stories of all the different characters that are in the Mos Eisley Cantina when you see the main Skywalker saga characters there. Greedo's
Even the
one of
big
the
cricket,
characters.
even the big
Uh,
cricket.
oh, the big
There's a
the big
there's a
tree
big
person.
no, there's a cricket at the bar in
I have no.
in
I think no. That's like the ones you see, like the hero characters, the ones you actually see their
Bye
faces.
Natty. Sorry for boring you about Star Wars.
Bye, Natty. This is sci-fi. Sorry, pal.
Your geek fest. But yeah, I need to take a drink. Hmm. Yeah, did I tell you I don't drink anymore. I haven't had a drink since September.
Good for you.
Can you believe
Well
that?
done.
Because 20
Yeah.
years ago, when Attack of the Clones came out, I mean, it was like Attack of the Glugs, right? Innit? Working in that call
I'm
center
not.
every
I'm drinking
night.
wine. I'm drinking wine these days because I put on too much weight with the beer.
Beer, I'll tell you, as soon as I stopped, it's like, see you later, sayonara, blubber.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, uh, Star
So
Wars.
yeah, Black Money Corp. If you can get hold of the book, Tales from Mos Eisley Cantina. If you like Greedo, you'll get his backstory. You'll definitely get his backstory in it, and you'll enjoy it because it gives more depth to the character.
Which Star Wars character? Jumping off of his question there, that's kind of ties in with this one. Which Star Wars character do you identify with, and why?
C-3PO. No, R2D2.
All right. See, I was going to say C-3PO actually.
I'm more R2D2, especially these days. I'm getting rounder,
Oh, see, it's
and
just because I do tend to say it's our lot in life. you know.
no, it's just like R2D2's character's just he's had enough. You know what I mean? He's just like, this is all got because he's kept his memory banks over the years. He's just like,
You're more
you know,
diplomatic though. See, I'm more I don't know, I just get so wound up about things quite easily in every walk of life. You know, I was like that 20 years ago. Come on, you know that.
yeah,
Yeah,
highly
not much
strung.
is. Yeah, I know. Like a well-strung violin. Anybody can play me. Like, mm. But yeah, C3PO because he does. He worries, and it's funny that
Oh,
he's
he overthinks everything. He's got a nervous disposition.
yeah.
I like R2D2 because he's like, oh, not this shit again. Right, let's
Yeah.
go. Let's just get it done. Let's just get it done. And then he trundles along with his little round body, which I completely identify with this after sitting in my butt for 2 years doing nothing because of COVID.
I always liked how in the original trilogy that they were our sort of introduction characters to each story.
They're
That you
the
would,
first. They are the only characters that are in pretty much every single one.
yeah. No, but the films open with them as
Yeah.
the characters that you meet, and
What was it? The first line is that sounds like the um shield generator or the main engine or something like that's like the first line in the whole entire trilogy,
yeah,
original trilogy. That sounds like the prepare.
because they were
I
based
forgot.
on.
I used to remember it. I can't remember it now.
I know back in the day, used to do the whole script,
I used to be
and
able to do the
like,
whole script in like 30
aye,
minutes.
amazing. But see
Speed run.
the Kessel Run. What was going to say is but the thing they're based on the two bumbling fools from Hidden Fortress, Akira
Yeah,
Kurosawa.
yeah.
Yeah, and it was I do I love them. I love R2D2 and
Well,
C3PO. It's funny.
the Kurosawa was like every single like
Bye,
George
Natty.
Lucas's by Natty. Um, everyone that studied film round about the time George Lucas did, they were all watching Akira Kurosawa.
Aye.
They were just like, you have to watch this cinematography. And the thing is, George Lucas took a lot of the cinematography from the Akira Kurosawa films. What was his first
So
film?
did Coppola.
Yeah, Coppola as well. But what was his first film? It was that
THX 1138.
HX 1138. That was the sound design company that came up after
Mm-hmm.
that. Yeah. THX, yeah, but that was his first one, and that had a lot of like kind of the long shots of like architecture,
Yeah.
the architecture shots. But even like uh Denis Villeneuve, right, the guy that did Dune, he also did like Contact and stuff like that. He uses those extra long wide shots. But what he started doing is making it wider screen and putting more and more like kind of foreground and background in it.
Excellent. I see. I know, but they're all what they're called the movie brats. Brian De Palma,
Welcome
Spielberg,
from Argentina.
Argentina. I know,
Yeah,
fantastic.
nice.
But the
Thank you for coming by.
yeah, welcome. Oh, hi Alamata. Oh, you've already been here. Sorry, I've not even said hello to you yet. Thanks for showing up. And but what was going to say? Yeah, the movie Brats, that great book that I read, Easy Riders, Raging Bulls, where it told the whole story from the late '60s all the way to the early '80s. That whole era where Star Wars, where it came from Bonnie and Clyde coming out in 1967 to Flashdance in the early '80s, and how Star Wars. A lot of people do attribute Star Wars in ruining cinema because it now became a hamburger. It became this franchise.
Well, the thing is what it did was it boosted the industry again. Because, like you said, nobody was going to cinema at the beginning of the 80s,
No,
late 70s, early 80s. Nobody was going to the cinema.
not to the
Well, fair enough.
degree.
There was a recession going on at the time, like a serious one, but nobody was really wanting to go to the cinema. And the only
Yeah.
cinema houses, the only playhouses and cinema houses that were kept open were the adult film ones.
Oh no.
It's just like
And those movies,
parents.
some of those
Yeah,
movies were actually doing better at the box office than some of the Hollywood films. The
the ones that were more high art.
apparently, but see, but the thing what I think is I don't like it when people attack Star Wars, right? Because I mean, if you could say it's rubbish, right, that's fine. But I think the original film, really brought science fiction right into the forefront more than anything. More than anything, I can't think of a film that is really, whether I know it's not necessarily science fiction, it's space opera, right? But it got people's interest in
Well,
space and
didn't the
science
Black
fiction.
Hole come out round about the same time as
Oh
well?
yeah, there's so many films cashed in on it. Star Crash, the Star Trek the motion picture,
Yeah,
um, loads of them. Battlestar
the
Galactica,
Black Star
Buck
Galactica
Rogers.
was 1978, was it not?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It
No,
all
that's
came in the
like
wake of
the
Star Wars.
New Hope was 1978.
77,
Um, so 77. Okay,
May
and then Buck
1977.
Rogers, and then what was the other ones that came out like quite soon after that? It's like Silent
Yeah.
Running and all that started
No, that
coming
was
out. It was like
that was
the
that's
80s. The
pre.
80s was just sci-fi tastic.
Oh
But
yeah,
yeah, I was like, Silent Running was a bit before that, but that was a
Battle Beyond the Stars.
poignant story. Battle Beyond. Oh,
Battle Beyond the Stars.
oh,
Oh, and
it's still close to my heart.
Out,
Still close to my
Outland.
heart.
There's a ton of them. There's a whole stream of great science fiction
And
movies that
Sean
came out.
Connery's science fiction that nobody knows about. Outland.
Aye, with the
Yeah,
High Noon in Space.
brilliant. Alien, the original
Of
Alien.
course.
Yeah,
How could I forget? Which actually got released um 2 years to the day for Star Wars, because 20th Century Fox
yeah,
planned that because they wanted to make sure they had a big science fiction classic come out on the same day as Star Wars did
yeah.
2 years later, and it was Alien. I mean, two absolute game
19,
changers.
1979. It was a good year for
97.
movies as well. It's like
Oh yeah,
it was it.
Watership
Well,
Down,
the
Mad
year I was
Max.
born, so obviously the best year ever.
Aye,
Um,
YMCA. I was there,
the Warriors,
of course.
1979. Great. What was it? Dawn of the Dead.
No, that was 78.
Well, that's it. I
Watership
thought it was
Down.
79. Watership
Watership
Down. Oh,
Down.
yeah, heart wrenching story. I shouldn't have seen that as a child.
Mm. And we're getting off topic here. Back to Star
Yeah.
Wars, right?
Back
So
to Star Wars and sci-fi.
it's
Let's
kind of
go.
nice that I'm C3PO and you're R2D2. That's lovely.
That's it. Yeah.
But
So I'm shorter than you and I'm round
we're really getting
these
through
days
these.
anyway.
Actually, what most disappointed you about the last trilogy?
Apart from the rushed
Yeah, besides what you've
aspect
mentioned.
of it and the studio caving to the demands of
Idiots.
boy children, like boy men that haven't grown up past their teenage years. You know what I mean? It's like that really annoys me as well. It's like nah, nah, nah. It's grow up, fucking go get a
Yeah.
job. You know
But
what I
that's the
mean?
thing, um,
But
art has
the
something there
thing
to
that
give.
disappointed me the most was the reaction that the fans had. That disappointed me the most. Right? It was a sci-fi film. It's
Space opera.
art. It's a space opera. That part of the saga had to end so they could get on with the better stuff. Because the Star Wars universe is massive. It's like the
Yeah.
Star Trek universe as well. Everyone's been slating all like the new films that have been coming out by Star Trek. I like them. The new Star Trek series.
Well, the series Discovery. Vivi loves that.
No, the one that I
Picard.
like Disco. Disco was good. Picard, I enjoyed. It was enjoyed at its on its own level as a story set in the universe.
Yeah.
So just think of them as stories set in the universe.
I know.
The new one, which is Strange New Places. It's episode 2. I was just watching episode 2 before I started speaking with you. Great. I enjoy it. It's more like it's based on the old Star Trek, but with
All right.
like that they're taking the old kind of line with it, but it's not. It's some of the old characters, but it's before Kirk.
All right.
So it's Captain Pike. So I enjoy that. I enjoy when somebody takes something from a universe and creates something else with it. Disco, I enjoyed it because
Let's
it was
go.
creating something new. Discovery, yeah. I want one of those T-shirts that say Disco. You know what? It says a Discovery. Have you seen the tops that they have on the actual when you're watching the show? It was my
No,
wife that it was my wife that pointed it out to me. She says, "Why have they got Disco written on their chest?" I was like, "Oh, it's short for Discovery." So watch the first series again. Everyone's walking about like in their sports tops when they're doing their recreational stuff. It says Disco.
right.
Yeah, it doesn't
Okay.
say Discovery. It says
Well, I mean,
Disco. So
I
yeah,
love disco, but
I
not
know
that
you
kind
love
of disco.
disco. I thought you
Aye.
would have noticed that.
Yeah. I mean, but do you want? Would you like to hear what I was biggest disappointment for me with the trilogy
Yeah,
is the character of Finn, John Boyega's character, because here was this. I bought the Empire magazine when Force Awakens came out. You get a choice. You always do that. They give you like different choices of covers, right? Because they're really hyping you up. So there's a cover you can get where it's got Ray on it. There's one that's got Han Solo on it. And I went for John Boyega because he was on the cover with a lightsaber, and I thought, oh, this guy looks like a badass, right? And they made him look kind of badass. And then when he came into the film, he was scared all the way through the film. And there's this cliche that I
yeah.
hate. I hate with that goes all the way back to the silent era, where you have black characters who are always terrified. It is one of the worst cliches to have with a black
Well,
character is
he
they're
was he
always
was a he was
terrified.
a he was a he was a stormtrooper,
Yeah,
right? They
I mean,
from he was
who had
trained
PTSD.
trained as a
Yeah,
stormtrooper from a very early age, and they had the fear trained out of them. So
exactly.
why was he afraid all the time? Because none of the other
I
stormtroopers
know.
were afraid. They turned up not being able to shoot anything. They knew they couldn't hit anything, and they
Yeah.
just kept shooting anyways. We're just cannon fodder for the Emperor. Blah 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 blah.
But
You know,
I
they
kind of
might be.
forgave it. I forgave it in the first one, right? Force Awakens, because he was a new character to me. I didn't know anything about him
Mm,
really. But he just kept going this way. He just kept running and screaming and being terrified. And he never evolved. He never had an arc. They never really gave this character anything to do other than run and be
yeah.
scared. And what they did in The Last Jedi, he had a relationship with that Rose Tico, but because the trolls hated her because she was, I don't know why,
I
right?
don't know what the problem was, man. She was good. It was a good wee
She got written
character
out.
to have.
And they
You
wrote her out
know,
in the third one, and they
they
wrote out
turned up,
Benicio del Toro's character. They established this guy, just wrote him out and
yeah,
all.
an established actor as well that could sell tickets to
Yeah,
people that wouldn't usually go and see it. You know,
precisely. And that to me, that last one was the biggest abomination because that just felt like a Universal Studios ride that didn't have a plot. That was just going from one stupid, goofy thing to the next. Where it's like, oh, you
it's
ever
like Warner Brothers got hold of it like they did with the what was it what's that one called, the one Superman and all that.
Justice League?
Yeah, what they did with Justice League before the Zack
Yeah,
Snyder one came out. It's like
yeah,
the studio Warner Brothers studio executives got hold of it and
mangled
went,
it.
"We're going to make garbage and people are going to go see it." And then Zack Snyder went, "You want to see a 3 hour film?"
I know.
Everyone went, "Yeah, we want to see a 3 hour film."
I know, and it was way better. I actually I like that actually. And I'm not mad on the superhero films, but
I
I did
think
enjoy the Snyder cut. I thought it
it
was
was a
good.
good. It was actually much better than the other one.
And that
But
was
the thing is a lot of these films, they what made the original film so good was because the budget was so constrained. They had to do everything right. You know, there was no extra scenes. Maybe like 5 or 10 minutes per 2 hours, right? But there was no extra scenes because they
mm,
couldn't afford to have the extra scenes, and they had to have it at a certain length for it to be like a 2 hour long film, like 120 minutes. But they took out a couple of scenes here and there for each one. But with the
hmm
new ones, there's so many extra scenes, and it's the general with most of the big budget films that are getting made. There's so many extra scenes that you're when the film does come out, they're just like, well, you do know there was a 4 hour edit.
aye,
You know, the director's
big
cut's actually
bloated,
4 hours, blah, 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 blah. And you're
yeah,
like sitting there going, why didn't you bring that out?
Yeah.
because that's the masterpiece right there.
Yeah.
That's the,
But see,
that's how the film was supposed to be. But because there was
there was
no
no way.
constraints,
There's no way
on
there is a
time and
4 hour
budget.
cut of. There's no way there's a 4 hour cut of that. That's a masterpiece. It was dead on arrival. Even the crawl, even the crawl at the beginning was dreadful. The dead awakes or the dead speaks
Mm.
or something. We've heard Palpatine's voice just float over space, and that's like
Yeah,
this is one of the most important things that's happened to these characters, and we just get it as part of the crawl. It's really awful, and it's naff. Come on, this is how you bring back Palpatine with a crawl, and the
and then
dead
he
that
turns up.
speaks.
He turns up looking like half robot. Like they've just
Yeah,
taken
what was
some. They've
that?
taken some inspiration from Warhammer 40K. You know what I mean? Here's the dead God Emperor. You know what I mean? Turning up.
Yeah,
Yeah, I need your blood.
it just absolutely ruined my day watching that. That as soon as I saw that crawl, I was like, "Oh no, we're doomed.
Well,
We're
what about
absolutely doomed."
Rogue One?
Oh, Rogue One was great. The only thing that I had a problem with Rogue One was the fake Leia at the end. But it did something in Star Wars that I've never, even when I was playing with Star Wars toys as a kid, my imagination couldn't come up with this, right? And that was when the rebel ship is about to go to light speed, and then a big effing star destroyer just comes out of light speed and
Aye.
bumps right into it. I would never, in my wildest little crazy 8-year-old brain, come up with that. And when I saw that in the cinema, I jumped out of my seat. I just, wow.
I thought it was a good thing to show how brutal Darth Vader could be. You know, because for a lot of time he was just like, you know, it's like it was Richard Prowse just going, meh, you know, like there was no VFX or anything like that. But the thing is like he's walking down this corridor,
Oh, yeah.
force holding somebody up against the wall,
He becomes
cutting
Steven
that
Seagal
person
all of a
as the
sudden.
guy as the guy falls down, he chops him as he's chopping the next one. He's just
Oh,
forced, and you're just like, yeah, that's how powerful Darth Vader it was. You know what I mean? As a
yeah.
character, it's just like, and you're like, that's pretty cool actually, because they
Yeah.
can show it using the VFX. Because beforehand, he just seemed like a normal big guy with, you know, occasionally throwing polystyrene at other characters. You know.
Yeah. That one got me really pumped for the rest of the Star Wars trilogy because it was so good. I
But
really enjoyed it.
since then, the Uncanny Valley with the facial animations got so much better.
See, that was the
Yeah,
thing I was a bit disturbed with.
they didn't have the virtual reality. They didn't have the VFX engines that they needed to pass it off.
I don't know, that Luke
They did
Skywalker
their they
at the
did
end
their
of
best.
Mandalorian looked a bit Uncanny Valley.
Yeah, but the new one and the new season is
This
a
is the
lot
last.
better. The last season of Mandalorian, he's a lot better. It's only because the actor looks so much like Mark Hamill. Anyway, they're just like, this is easy to like deep fake on top
Yeah,
of him.
absolutely. What I was
Hello,
going to say is,
hello,
but yeah,
Tessie. How are you?
how's doing? I thought it was Event
Thank you,
Horizon that
Trending
dipped
Jade.
into
Shout
what four.
out
I thought it was.
Warhammer 40K.
I
Yeah, I
thought. I
thought
thought.
event. Oh
Oh,
yeah, Warhammer 40K. Yeah, the Event Horizon thing with going into the warp, because in Warhammer 40K, the warp is how they fast travel through space, but the
okay.
warp is literally hell. It's
Yeah.
where all the emotions of every sentient being of the galaxy comes together, and it's you've got like if somebody's angry, there's going to be a lot of people angry. You're going to get one like being that becomes out of pure anger, and then you've got like it'll take me too long, William. I'm sorry, it's going to take me way too long to explain the Warhammer 40K thing. That would be another conversation for another time. But Warhammer 40K is pure hell, and if you go into the void without the special kind of shields, you get taken over by the pure hatred and all that. And that's what
Right.
Event Horizon was about. Because if you see some of the uncut scenes of Event Horizon, it is horrific. You see little
Oh,
glimpses of it, yeah.
in the
But
film,
if you
yeah, when they see
yeah,
the log.
if you see some of the uncut bits that have sneaked out over the internet over times, it's horrific because they're in the void and they've been
Mm,
taken over by chaos.
Yeah, I
chaos.
love those bits.
Yeah,
I need to look them up. That'll give me nightmares
yeah.
for weeks.
But Event Horizon was the most 40k.
I love that
Yeah.
movie. Loved it when it came out, and I still love it. What is it he says? Lawrence Fishburne is just like, right, we're leaving. As soon as he sees that, he's just like, right, we're leaving. Because he's pretty much saying exactly what the audience is thinking. Right, we need to get out of here.
Yeah, William. There's a few people on YouTube and that go through the lore, and yeah, look them up. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, look them up. I've been reading the Black Library as well recently, which is the Warhammer 40k books.
Right.
Yeah, it's good. Thank you, William.
See the
back to Star Wars.
Oh yeah. I was just
So
kind of
what
getting
do
into.
you think of like Mandalorian?
I liked the first season, and but to be honest, I thought it was a mixed bag. There was like any TV show, they always have these wee filler episodes that that are just.
They have to,
uh,
yeah.
I don't know, but something that with it. I mean, it had the CinemaScope framing, right? So I thought, well, here we go. We're getting Star Wars on television, and it looks like a movie, right?
But you see, the backgrounds were all artificially created.
I know. I've
Unreal
watched.
Engine. You've played games on Unreal Engine. It's a
Aye.
game engine that they're creating cinematography on now.
Yeah, I know. I'm not 100% sold on it. Kind of beat the real thing, a real. Because that's the thing about shooting in a real environment. I know it's costly and it's risky because if it starts to rain, you could have a mudslide, right? It could happen on the
Okay,
sets. Happen.
can you really tell the difference which is LED screen and which is not though?
Maybe not, maybe not. But here's the thing:
Yeah,
happy accidents. I mean, you get real accidents and you get happy
yeah.
accidents, and that's what.
That's the problem. There's more real accidents than happy accidents if you ask the insurance companies. They're the ones that basically finance or allow the finance for these films.
True. But
Things
here's a
happen. It's
question:
a reality.
if Return of the if Raiders of the Lost Ark was made now, right?
It
Then
would be made.
no, but let's just say it never got.
Temple of Doom.
For talking sake, let's say it never got made until now, right? It was a brand new film, right? Raiders of the Lost Ark. Harrison Ford's character would not. Indiana Jones would not have got food poisoning like he did on the set of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, okay, that's a
Which
happy accident. Yeah,
happy accident, yeah. Because
yeah.
then he was supposed to fight that dude, wasn't he?
Bang.
Yeah, that's just
Yeah,
classic, right? But that's what I mean. I think that when you hear about these great films like Sorcerer or Apocalypse Now, where these people went through hell and back to these crazy locations to make these
yeah.
films, you feel the weight of that when you watch it, not just by knowing it, but you feel it when you see it as well. There's a certain, it's more than just verisimilitude. It's like,
Yeah, but there is a thing about taking the actors out to location and letting
yeah,
them feel it, like so they've got that visceral feel to it, and that's what I was talking about. The Void is the green screen stuff and the blue screen stuff. You can't see anything,
yeah,
but when you put people in the environment and you go, "This is what it looks like where you are," so adjust yourself to this is how it looks.
yeah.
This is coming from that direction, and then they can look at it, and then their acting
Because I know, like
is
Black
better
Panther
because they don't have to do as much. Black Panther was mostly green screen and blue
was
screen.
green screen. I
Yeah,
seen it
yeah.
in the special features kind of things.
I enjoyed that film. That was one of the better ones out of it, but I still think there was so much they could have done.
But
So
that's what
much
I
they
mean.
could have
It
done.
just
Yeah.
it. I hope maybe with the sequel or what have you, they will be using this new technology and they'll make it look more authentic. Because I think it kind of
Yeah,
hurt the film.
if Marvel Studios are allowed to use the ILM Void, then they will.
Well,
But remember,
I think they've got deep pockets.
there's still two different companies under the same umbrella, so they've still
They've
got
got
their
deep
own ways of
pockets. They
doing it.
can, it's. I mean, ILM's done effects for loads of different films. It's not even associated with Lucasfilm, but I know that it's
Yeah,
all Disney. See, that's the thing. That let's get into other sci-fi, right? I'm sick and tired of talking about
let's do
Star
it. Right,
Wars.
give me 2 seconds. I'm just gonna stop my cam, mute, and you talk to the people
Okay.
for 2 minutes. I just need to come back. All right. I'll be back.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Oh, please don't leave me. Right. Don't think there's many folk here. Is there anyone any questions you want to ask me about Star Wars or anything about the channel, anything at all? The mouse own all. I know. Yeah. See, that's the thing. One of my favorite science fiction movies for the 70s is Rollerball, right? And Rollerball is about corporations owning everything, and it seems to be getting that way, right? Seems to be getting that, and I don't mean like it's getting to like real giant corporations. When are you going to invest all those YT bucks? I'll tell you how much I've made so far, right? Hold on. Oh, let me see. Revenue. My estimated revenue is 55 pence. So there you go. I can probably get a can of Pepsi. When are you going to invest all those? Invest in what? Well, see, I mean, if I make any money at this, right? Approximately 73 pennies. Yeah. I mean, if I make any money at this, it's just going to go back on the channel. That's what it's there for, really. If I make anything, really. I've only been monetized for a week, right? And but yeah. But Billy, what do you think about that? We've got Amazon, Google, Apple. You know, it's just in Disney, just ginormous companies. It's it's kind of scary, right? I mean, how much is it where they say that, oh no, that's it, that's a monopoly, now. You can't buy that company, right? I mean, to own Marvel Studios, to own Lucasfilm, to own 20th Century Fox, it's just too much. Sorry, I was just having a wee rant about giant corporations.
Oh yeah, well, I mean Disney these days is just an umbrella corporation with smaller corporations underneath it. You know, it's
Yeah,
like they buy up the IP and the rights for certain franchises. You know,
I know, but they own the Alien franchise now. They own Predator. They own
well
they own Avatar.
let's hope they can make some better Alien and Predator films than the recent ones that have came out.
I don't know.
You know, it's
I
that's another one where like the Alien ones, like Alien, was it Prometheus?
oh,
And
I
then the
like
one
that.
that came after, right? I liked it, but there was so much missing from it that could have happened, that could have been done, or they should have done it to create the narrative a little bit better.
Do you know what I think they should have
You know,
done? But this wouldn't have went over with anyone. Is disassociate itself with Alien. The fact that it was trying to tie itself into Alien, I think, kneecapped it.
yeah.
The ideas of man trying to steal fire from the gods, hence the name, is great concept for science fiction. And they didn't get a chance to really run with it because, we've got to make sure by the end of this film there's a spaceship left here with a space jockey skeleton, and because
It's
John,
just like,
John Hart's going to turn up and get a face hugger on him, right? It's just
have you played Alien Isolation?
Alien Isolation. No,
It's Ripley's daughter trying to find Ripley.
all right, the one that
Yeah,
from
and
the
then
deleted
they,
scene.
they end up going to this exact same place. There's like a crew that ends up going to the exact same place, finding the exact same thing. The exact same thing happens to them, and then there's a massive outbreak on a space station,
Yeah,
and
you're going to hate me.
an alien's daughter turns up at a space station and has to destroy the aliens.
You're going to hate me for this one.
Which one?
I actually like the Predator, the 2018 one.
Which one was that?
The one with the Predator like lands on Earth during Halloween.
Oh, that was funny. That was brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, do you know? I really enjoyed it because
That's the one. That's the one where he comes into the town and it starts off with like the boy out with his dad. Is it that one?
Yeah, it's the one where I
It's
think
like the
the
two the hunt
kids.
the guy's out hunting with his son, and then all of a sudden he gets that on, his son runs, and then later on there's like a woman with like uh giving birth to aliens. It's like quite horrific.
No, no, you're thinking of Alien versus Predator Requiem.
That's yeah, okay. Yeah.
No, I'm thinking of the
I enjoyed that. I thought that was hilarious. That entire film was hilarious.
no Alien the Predator was the one where it's basically a comedy, right? You not seen it? Where they've got like
I've probably
all these
seen it.
guys are like veterans and they're in a bus together and they
Oh,
all have to hunt.
it's got the guy from Key and Peele.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Okay, yeah, I've
Keegan
seen
Michael
that one.
Key.
And it's got
Yeah.
the guy that played the original the second Punisher.
Thomas Jane.
Yes. The guy that
Yeah.
looks like what's his the guy that played the Highlander in Highlander. He looks like him. He's like a younger version of what's his name?
What,
The guy
Christopher
that played
Lambert?
Highlander. He's like an American younger version of Christopher Lambert. It's him.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now,
I thought that the guy that played the second Punisher, not the Dolph Lundgren Punisher, but that Punisher.
all right. See, I really enjoyed it because I think by now, right, the Predator is not scary anymore. I think trying to make Predator.
I've showed my boy Predator, the Arnold Schwarzenegger film.
How old's your son?
He's 9, but
Oh, that's fine.
I saw it when I was like 8 years old, 7 years old, and
You turned out
I sent a
psychotic.
message. I sent a message to my friend who we saw it at the same time, and I went, "How old were we when we watched Aliens for the first time and Predator for the first time?" And he went, "Don't worry, I've already showed my son, and he's around about the same age as yours." And I was like, "Okay." So I showed Thor Aliens,
Yes,
but not
let's traumatize
Alien.
our children.
No, he loved it. He loved it. He loved it. He just saw it as like guys with guns shooting aliens, and there's some gore. Because I brought my boy up knowing what's special effects and what's not special effects.
Good man.
And
Yep.
then you've got Predator, which is you know, that stuff. He thought it was absolutely hilarious. I can't show him RoboCop yet because there's other things in RoboCop that are a little bit hard to like. You've got the
Yeah, yeah,
because it's not just violence; it's sex and drugs. I can't. That's a bit
yeah,
more
and
difficult to
the
explain to a child. I mean, even though I was the
Murphy's
same age,
execution is pretty harsh, man.
yeah, even though I was the same age when I saw it, maybe when 1987, so I would have been 8 or 9 when I first saw it. It was like the whole bit with Ed 209 shooting the guy across the table still is ingrained in my mind as one of the best pieces of cinema I've ever seen when I was that age. And I went, I have to see this whole film.
You know what's funny? Every time I talk to people, it always turns to RoboCop for some reason. RoboCop is just one of those absolute gem films.
It's cyberpunk. It's gritty. Yeah,
It's comic book as well.
it's
It's pure.
it's just pure cyberpunk to its core. It's just pure cyberpunk. It's like corporations taking over and destroying an entire city that was already probably destroyed by that point. That's why they used Detroit, because the motor industry left Detroit,
Mhm.
and Detroit was already starting to become quite bad because there was like zero jobs, zero hope. You know what I mean? It was like Glasgow in the 1980s. It's like no jobs, no
Early,
hope. When early
yeah,
80s when they shut down it's like, so we could, as where we were from, we could see
yeah.
what was happening in that kind of society. But even though it was more cartoony and way more
Well,
gun
that's what
violence than
satire
what we
does.
were, yeah,
Satire exaggerates. Natural Born
yeah,
Killers, Doctor Strangelove, Sorry to Bother You. These films exaggerate the current condition, and that's
yeah.
what
But
RoboCop was a satire. It was a I mean, it's got so many elements. It is a total genre,
cyberpunk sci-fi, and it was Paul Verhoeven who's like the king of violent satire. You know,
pretty much. I just
because Starship Troopers, and Total Recall, violent satire. That's his genre, is violent satire, violent sci-fi satire.
weird.
He's a master at
When
it.
he's looking at Americana, when he's looking at America from his European eyes,
Mm.
he kind of um I don't know. He has a sort of skewed view of the United States. I don't know about his actual Dutch films. because I haven't
Yeah.
watched any of them, even his
Oh,
most recent ones,
those are
like
very
Spetters and things like
European,
that. But that's what I
very
mean. I
Europe.
don't think they'll
Yeah,
probably fall into the same category as stuff like Basic Instinct or RoboCop, because
yeah.
I do think those films do have something to say about society
Aye.
in a way that from that point of view, because I know that Starship Troopers, the guy who wrote that, he was a fascist, right? And he pretty much
Yeah,
he's all for the humans attacking Klendathu, right? In his
yeah.
original novel, whereas Paul Verhoeven is adapting that novel to have a completely different message, right?
Adapting to what happens if veterans ruled the world.
Yeah, well,
It's
I
like
mean,
it's war all the time. We fight against ourselves until there's another enemy, and then
right.
we have to go against that. But what we're going to do is we're going to go so gung ho into the whole thing, and it's just like everyone's getting executed, everyone's doing this. It's like, what happens if martial law ruled the world?
I saw it on the big screen when it came out, and do you know what? I didn't get it. Not that I didn't enjoy it. I absolutely loved Starship
I
Troopers
I went and saw it 6 times in the cinema, like
six
each,
times.
6 times, day after day after day, for 6 days in a
Wow.
row. I went to the cinema to see it because I loved it so much. Because I thought it was one of the most violent things I've ever seen, one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Because it was violent and the violence was so
Yeah.
comical,
They
and I was
sucked their
I had
brains out.
they sucked his brains out. Uh,
Yeah.
I thought it was
Nazis in
it's the only.
space.
That's just
Yeah,
I thought it was
pretty much.
absolutely hilarious. I just wanted to see it more and just see every little individual little bit and how it was made. See this, see that, because it was like the VFX. It was like they were introducing like CGI at the same time as practical effects,
Yeah, and it blended
and
it
it
bled together
blended
quite
together
well. It
perfectly. Like
still looks
Verhoeven
good.
had control over that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it still looks really good as well, considering. I mean, I know there's a few. There's always a couple of wee sort of missteps in special effects, and that.
Yeah, I just went for the. It
But
was the shower scene. Yeah, you're
I
right,
didn't
William.
understand the fascism message that it was making, even though you've got the dude, the actor, he turns up in the full SS uniform at the end of
Oh,
the
Neil
film.
Patrick Harris.
Yeah, he's in
Yeah.
the full SS uniform. I did not spot that. I was
I
just
bet, I bet,
so
I bet he's
enchanted,
still got that uniform.
and it did.
I bet he's still got that uniform for fun time.
Ex- and excuse the pun, but what really bugged me when I first watched Starship Troopers was the fact that
Uh,
the cast all looked like they were straight off a Sunset Beach. There were all these.
that was the other
I
thing that I
know.
liked about it, because it was made at the time in the 90s, like 96, I think it was when it came out.
Yeah.
Everything was Beverly
No, no, it
Hills
was totally
90210.
purposefully done.
It
They're
was
meant to be the
purposely
master
done
race Adonises.
for the time. It was
Because
purposely made for the time. It was a satire on modern society, as well as how Verhoeven thought society was going because of the media.
and
Because
it's Nazi
the media's
propaganda.
yeah,
What are you doing,
media's
Nazi?
the media's so polarized, right? You've got one side saying this, you've got one side saying that. Nobody sees the gray area in between. Nobody sits in the gray area. Everyone wants to be this or that,
Hmm.
right? The simpletons are this or that. There's no gray area in between. Just sit in the gray area. The life's a much better spectrum when you see all the fucking
Yeah,
colors. You can't be this color or that. It's not just black and white. There's loads of fucking colors. You've got an entire spectrum right there. See life for what it is. You can't just go, oh, you don't agree with me. I'm gonna oh, you don't agree with me, and they go heads to head. Instead of looking at what they have in common, they just go, you don't agree with this one thing, I don't agree. It's
yeah,
That's what he was taking the piss out of. Because if you
yeah.
look at the stuff in between, like the TV programs with I
The
find that
propaganda.
offensive, a bug with a brain.
The whole film is propaganda. It's a propaganda
Yeah,
piece.
exactly.
As if,
You're right,
and that's what I'm
William. The
saying.
media has sides.
If you're watching Lenny Riefenstahl's The Triumph of the Will, then what do you see? You see all the most attractive Germans on camera,
Joker,
right?
hello.
Right. So you see all these beautiful German people on camera in Triumph of the Will, and
Yeah,
Starship Troopers. You've got Johnny Rico and all that. They're all chiseled, handsome people, and
exactly.
he
That's what
right.
he was taking the piss out of. Verhoeven's from the Netherlands.
Hmm.
You know, he was Netherlands, and he was like very, very young when the Nazi takeover of the Netherlands was fucking happening.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where he took his like you could say inspiration from those type of propaganda films, and that's why he wanted to do Starship Troopers, because Starship Troopers, the guy who wrote it was a fucking fascist, like
Yeah.
deep down fascist. So he was
Yep.
taking the piss out of the writer
I know it's funny that,
at the
isn't it?
same, yeah.
Whereas
But it's like
nowadays,
that,
right?
yeah. You
I
couldn't get
mean,
away with that subtlety anymore. The subtlety that Verhoeven brought to every single one of his films,
I
you
take it.
can't bring that these days.
I take it with so many rewatches in a short period of time on its opening release. I take it you got the Nazi propaganda
Oh yeah,
slant.
yeah. I
I
knew it was
didn't.
propaganda from the first place. It's my grandfather. He taught me about propaganda and stuff like from an early age. And during the 80s, he was like, anytime any politician was on the telly, he was like that's propaganda. Don't believe what they say.
Right.
They're going to say one thing and do another. Never trust a politician. That type of stuff. It's like, but he also told me tactically vote. One of those things. It's like if you want something to happen, don't vote for the ones you want to go. Just vote for the ones that kind of steer in that direction.
Mm,
You know, because then your vote isn't wasted. That's the type of stuff that he taught me.
yeah.
Was that's propaganda. Understand propaganda when you see it. Don't.
Yeah. Billy's trying to say, I guess the US media has something of a balance, but UK media only has one side. See, do you
No,
know what I think?
the US media isn't balanced. You've got one side and another side, and a lot of people only watch one side, and a lot of people only watch the other side. The UK media is right.
No, it's the
You've
same.
got the Tories and fucking BBC, and I'm in Sweden right now, and it's like
But the question you always
it's
have to
different
ask
as well.
yourself with every media outlet around the world, right? And the thing is, I watch multiple media outlets.
What were they gaining? What are they gaining? You know,
Where's their bias?
where do they gain? What have they got
Yeah,
to gain?
who pays for them, right? If it's Rupert Murdoch, then we know, right? If the BBC, they're owned by the government, or they're the mouthpiece of the government, right? They're
Yeah.
apparently paid for by the
Well,
people, right? But
this right now is
yep,
steering me on to my next bit about science fiction, right? Because science fiction goes into these different political kind of ideologies in a different way. And the reason why a lot of people haven't really kind of tried to ban any science fiction films that come out is because it's done with a comical alien and this.
yep.
If you look
That's
in
how the
the in
Twilight
between,
Zone worked.
look at Neil Blomkamp, right? District 9, right?
Yeah,
It's set in South Africa, and
Johannesburg.
the aliens are being pushed aside, and they've got their own kind of, they're like, oh no, these aliens are just animals, blah blah blah. Think about where it's set and what
Hmm.
happened right about those times, and the type of people that were at those times. You had like the white people at the time during the
Apartheid.
apartheid. They were saying, oh, these these people, they're nothing but animals, blah blah blah. That, and then now it's aliens coming in, and then it's the same thing that's happening again. It's like that kind of, it's that you're bringing a political thing into the sci-fi realm, but you're making it so in your face. This is how stupid it was.
Hmm.
This is how
Yeah,
stupid it was.
yeah,
Now, if you look at the satire of it, like Neil Blomkamp stuff, the satire he did, Chappie.
yeah. I like
You
that.
look at Chappie,
Didn't love
it's like
it. Like that.
21st century short circuit.
Short circuit. Yeah, with Diane
I'm
Tward,
alive.
wasn't it?
25 is alive. Diane Tward, yeah, they fucked themselves up by being idiots
See,
after that film, you know. But
but see the
that type of stuff, the political side of it, and then the satire that comes
yeah.
underneath, and a lot of the satire is very, very. I mean, Neil
That was
Blomkamp
how.
stuff, the satire was in your face. It was just, it wasn't even satire then. It was just like, this is what it was like, and this is how stupid it was.
That was
You
how the
know?
Twilight Zone worked
Yeah.
because they got away with criticizing nuclear weapons and racism in the 50s, right, early 60s, because it was in a science fiction realm. Because this, any sort of social commentary that Rod Serling put into his show, The
Yeah.
Twilight Zone, it's science fiction, so it's fine. It gets under the radar. of people because it's science fiction. You never
It's
get a science.
like Black Mirror is
Aye,
like the modern day version of that.
exactly, and it doesn't
Yeah.
get banned. You don't hear of science fiction getting cut or
Yes,
banned.
Neil Blomkamp did Elysium. Elysium, I love that film. I just
I've not
think
seen that one.
it's aesthetically just a great film.
Mm.
With Matt Damon, obviously it's got Matt Damon in it, so you know what my feelings are for Matt Damon, Terry. They've not
Yep.
changed. They've not changed in 20 years.
Oh, I love Matt Damon. Uh,
Love the guy.
uh, um, I don't know, but for me, I'm old school. I'm old. You know me. I'm always going on about old school movies.
Have you seen the Black Mirror stuff?
Seen a couple of them. I didn't like the first
What's it?
series
Is
that
it
much.
Charlie? What's his name?
Charlie Brooker.
Charlie Brooker, and I think what is it? Oh, I keep forgetting these names, and I used to use them
It's
all the
usually
time.
like a story built around technology, and it's like the
Yeah,
technology
it's
is
a
going to change.
satire. It's a satirical story, a warning using sci-fi. Like there's one
Yeah,
with Ron Howard's daughter. What's her name?
Bryce Dallas Howard.
Bryce Dallas Howard, right? She is, yeah, Elysium's very, very cyberpunk as well. Yeah. There's the rich versus the poor again. There's very kind of cyberpunk stuff to it. Thanks, William. The Bryce Dallas Howard, she is in one where it's like everyone has a social score, and you have to get
All
above a
right.
certain amount before you're allowed to get these jobs. And if you go below a certain
Is that
amount
not
of
just communist China?
where do you think they got the idea for it for?
Yeah,
It came out before China came up with the
but
social
it's the
score
same. I
thing.
mean, we all think we're also more civilized, but the thing is, what is a credit score at the end of the day, right? Right? It's just you're right to have this. You can't
At
get a
least,
new.
with a credit score, you can work yourself up.
Mm. But as it's like, no, we don't trust you with an iPhone 13 Pro Max. I'm sorry, mate. Do one.
The only reason to get an iPhone 13 Max is if you want to do 3D scanning. There's no point in getting it as a phone. The cameras on it are perfect for 3D scanning, like environments. But get as a phone, why would you get it as a phone?
I don't know. Pokemon
You're
Go.
not going to be you're going to be spending over €1,000 or £1,000 or well over $1,000, depends on who's listening, for a phone that you're only going to use as a phone and to usually watch like fucking like YouTube clips or Facebook clips or
Mm-hmm.
your Snapchat as you're doing the toilet. You know what I mean?
Tune into this boring ass channel.
You're just like tune this. There's 4 people watching. Thank you for sticking with us.
I
To be
know.
honest, this has been an hour and 42 minutes
I know. It's,
because the latest Apple is shiny.
what would you what sci-fi movies would you like to see get a remake or a reboot,
Oh,
and why?
huh. Silent Running.
Really?
Yeah, as long as they, well, only because it'd be more poignant now.
I think they would.
As long as they don't get too preachy about it.
The original was kind of.
It
This
was
no.
preachy, but you know, I mean, it wasn't overly preachy. It's just like the character
The
himself was
character was.
preachy.
Yeah,
Yeah, but nothing else
and he could
was.
have been. He was kind of because what the way they established in the film that the Earth was fine, right? So he's like the kind of guy that's like, no, we've moved on to CD now. We don't need all these vinyls anymore.
Yeah,
Oh, wait a
yeah,
minute. No,
and that
no.
was the
He's
thing.
the guy
It's
that
like
wants to keep his VHS when we're all got 4K, right? That
you were about 10 years ago,
10, I'd say about, aye.
probably
Yeah,
about 5. When
I
did you
was,
get rid of your VHS, Terry?
I started in 2010. It was summer of
Getting rid of
2010.
it, getting rid of it.
Yeah, that was the
Okay.
start of the Exodus, you
How
know,
did it hurt every time you kind of got rid
with
of one? And
some of them
this
that
the
were
pain. I can imagine the pain was
more
real.
valuable than others. But for me,
I can imagine the pain was real.
they need to bring back this man. I'm sorry,
No, no,
Doctor
no.
Buckaroo Banzai.
It was perfect the way it is.
Yeah,
As a bit of 80s Americana. You know what I mean?
It's great. I mean, there's so much you can do with this crazy character, though. It's just like maybe even like a kids cartoon TV show of Buckaroo Banzai. That would make my day.
Because
Buckaroo Banzai.
that turned up into
Oh, don't talk about that one. You talking about
it,
you got a Ready Player One?
Ready Player One. That
That
turned
was
up. It was in that.
that was awful. That's like
I
like
enjoyed
what
it. I enjoyed it. It was
I
eye
knew you would say
candy.
that.
It was eye candy. Loved it. Loved it.
Wasn't
It had
wasn't.
the Iron Giant in there. It had some Gundam shit in there. It
It
was
was
great.
just let's show. It was just let's name some things from popular culture because apparently the novel is like that. There's like pages and pages of just like there's this thing, there's this thing, there's this thing, there's this thing, there's a thing. You know this thing, right?
It
That
was,
apparently the novel is like that. Like there's the plant from Little Shop of Horrors. There's the car from Back to the Future. There's the guitar from Buckaroo Banzai. It's like, come on, enough. And I felt the movie was, I don't know. I'd rather watch Battle Royale.
oh no, the Battle Royale, fantastic.
Mm.
Was it me that showed you
It
Battle
was you
Royale the
that
first time?
it was you that
Yeah,
introduced me to a lot of crazy Asian films, to be honest. And I was
the crazy ones. Oh, what was it? What was the other one? It's
Itchy
Ichi
the
the
Killer.
Killer. Oh wow,
I
that
didn't
was
like that.
brilliant. And
Did not like
what is
that
it?
one.
Old boy, old boy.
I love Old Boy with
I
the
just the
fight
panning shot
oh,
across the that
corridor with the hammer.
cinematog. See the new one that came out with Josh
Spike,
Brolin.
the Spike Lee one.
Yeah, that they used the exact same shot, and I was just like, right, okay, you've just basically just remade the film almost exactly the same way, but it doesn't have the heart of the Korean film when
Even
it first
Spike
came
Lee
out.
didn't like it.
Yeah,
I think that was a job for him because I think you watch him trying to sell it when he's got to go out and promote it on YouTube. There's video footage of him trying to promote the film, and he doesn't look interested. He's got no energy or enthusiasm whatsoever. But you see him with his own films like Black Klansman or The Five Bloods. Oh,
Black Klansman was fantastic.
it was, wasn't it?
That's another Adam Driver one. Yeah,
Oh, that guy's great. He's
yeah,
really good. And so is Denzel's boy. What's his name? David Washington? Is it Denzel Washington's son, who's the lead? He was
yeah.
also on Tenet. Do you know what? I like Tenet.
He is good. I like Tenet as well.
Yeah,
I
I
really
actually
did.
liked
Yeah,
it better than what was the other one? Inception. I thought it was a
yeah.
better film.
Well, Inception. Inception was like a fever dream.
Oh, uh,
You know what I mean?
it's a cop
It was
out.
like a fever dream, but it had Leonardo DiCaprio in it. You know what I mean? The only film I've not liked him in was Titanic.
Wow. Now, see, the thing that annoyed me about Inception is it made all these rules and it broke its own rules. I know that films.
Hi, the N channel. Thank
Hi
you for
there.
turning up.
Thank you. Give us a thumbs up. The thing I didn't like about Inception is it made these rules about dreams and stuff.
John David Washington.
John
Thank you,
David
William.
Washington.
Thank you, William.
It's just Denzel's boy. You know, it's just the son of Denzel.
Is it William or is it Willie or is it Bill? I don't know.
It's Billy. I
Is it
know Billy.
Billy. All
Yeah,
right.
he
Thanks,
works with
Billy.
me. I, but yeah, this chap. What was I saying? I an Inception that really annoyed me because it was about dreams and everything, and that was cool. But it made up all these rules, and then it changed the rules as it went along. And I know
Yeah.
that films break their own rules. That's usually when films come up with rules, they break them. Where it's Gremlins, you don't feed them after midnight, right? Oh, that's got to get broke, right? Right? You know, don't get them wet, right? The only point to movies of having rules is to break them, really, when they establish. But it's the way that Inception is that these chaps go into that dream and then they establish, oh, there's another level into the dream, and they never even knew this. They just sort of pull this out of their backside, and also the character Elliot. Uh, the female, but she's now a boy now. Elliot's. Oh.
Not Billy
Elliot
Elliot.
Page. Elliot Page, right?
Elliot Page. Yeah. Elliot Page. She originally started with the Trailer Park Boys.
All right.
One of her
Right.
first performances was the
I know
Trailer
he's
Park
a, I know
Boys as
he's
a
a
kid.
Canadian
Yeah,
actor, but
yeah.
yeah, Elliot Page
Sorry.
is
She
is
at
a
the time. He now. Sorry, Elliot. Sorry.
cool. Right, Elliot is a teenager in the film who's alone with a bunch of strangers, going to sleep with a bunch of strangers who are criminals. It
Yeah.
just had it. It just seems to be that I don't think maybe that's the thing about Christopher Nolan. He's not really interested in realism. It's just
He likes the pomp and circumstance.
it's like puzzles. It's like a puzzle movie, isn't it?
Yeah, he likes the pomp and circumstance, and then to throw a little curveball here and there.
Aye.
You know,
Whereas
and
I thought Tenet was fine.
that's his shtick. You know what I mean? And it's like I've said for a lot of things, is when remakes get made, right? And the remake isn't that bad, apart from RoboCop, right? The remake isn't that bad.
Oh, which one? Just in general.
Not the new RoboCop that got made.
Oh right, no, I don't really want to talk
P,
about that. But I mean, like,
PG 13 RoboCop. There's nothing in the RoboCop universe that is PG 13.
no.
But they thought, hang on, the only fans of RoboCop are all now in their 30s and 40s. Why don't we make a PG 13 to try and get the kids to see RoboCop? And you're like, no, because when the
They did
kids
that. They
see
did it. It was
when
called
when the
RoboCop
kids
3.
when the kids see their fathers coming out of the cinema going, that was shit. That is not the
Mhm.
RoboCop I want. That's not the RoboCop I saw. The kids are immediately going to turn around to their dad and go, "What RoboCop did you see, Daddy?" And he's going to have to think, "What's in that film? What is in
Uh,
this film?" And then they're going to think, "Right, I can't show you that film until you're at least 15, 16, because then you might have some context of what's going on in that film."
mhm.
But before that, there's no context. You know what I mean? It's like before I saw it far too young.
Same.
I don't want my boy to see it far too young. That's the thing.
Still, I've still got it lying about here. There we are. Hold on a sec.
Let's see it. Let's see it. Let's see it. Is it beautiful?
There it
Let's see
is.
how beautiful it is.
This is
Oh,
the original big box
that is
RoboCop. It's
that
beautiful, isn't
is
it?
like, just look at how beautiful that is
Isn't it?
as a cover. Part man,
It just,
part
it just,
machine, all cop.
it, it does exactly what it says on the tin. You know, you saw that. I think everyone saw that poster before they saw the
Yeah.
film, and they were just like,
Every single child our age saw that poster and wanted to see that film. But the thing is that little red circle with the 18 in it
aye,
made the parents go, "I don't think so."
yeah. But at the same time, it's just how many movies did you see that copied it and they never got it? They still haven't. It's what I think RoboCop is one
The,
of those lightning in a bottle movies as
the,
well.
RoboCop, it was all about the pain of being taken away, your humanity stripped from you,
Yeah, it
and
just felt like a,
you're trying to regain your humanity, and there's so much. It's your soul that goes past the machine.
it felt like such a harsh
Your soul takes
place.
over the machine. Yeah, but the thing is, it's the pain of realizing that you are no longer who you used to be. You're now this monster that's been created by science.
See on the
That's the thing I
commentary,
loved about it.
Paul Verhoeven says in it that why is because he explains why Murphy's death is so brutal, and he said that you can't have the resurrection without the crucifixion,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right.
Well, you can't. You have to be able to feel the character's pain
Check this out though.
before you understand their pain.
It's got the dealer copy on the inside,
Oh, that was from
right?
an actual, like, was it Azad video or?
This is its sleeve. That's for you give it to the video store,
Yeah.
right?
Which video
Bef-
store was it though?
It doesn't say. It doesn't
It
tell
doesn't
you.
say Azad
Doesn't
video,
tell you.
or
No,
like
it's
what?
completely blank. Doesn't have any stickers or anything on it. But yeah, this is for the dealer copy that goes into the store weeks before the film comes out, so that you go, should we get 10 of these? You
So
know,
that's the sales copy.
yeah, this. Is there
Yeah,
right? So it's got
that's
all
the
this
sales copy.
information.
Yeah,
It's got all this information about the movie and how much it did at the box office. Right. This is what it says: most eagerly awaited action movie of the year, 1988, nationwide blockbuster cinema hit. National press in 2 waves reaches over 22 million people. So it's saying that this film's going to get a lot of publicity when it comes out on video. So you'll sell a lot of copies, you'll rent out, you'll get a lot of rentals because people will know about it. Network
yes.
television
Hang
campaign.
on, Kurtwood Smith,
Aye.
Clarence Whitaker.
Aye.
Can you fly, Bobby?
Yeah. Just give me my effing phone call. He spits on the guy's paperwork as well, just before he says it. So
Yeah,
horrible.
it's a great character.
It's the way it's when he meets the guy
It's
in the
the ultimate 80s cokehead sociopath. You know what I mean?
yeah, the way that he when he's just going into the drug factory and he just like dips his finger into the guy's drink and goes with the guy's drink. Like it's just that kind of weird thing to psych someone out. Really strange. 18-month TV holdback. Remember that? They would hold it
Yeah.
back. This is not going to be on TV for 18 months. So they're not even talking about cable satellite television yet.
And
Because
then you
usually it
get
was
the
a
TV edit, which is like the Yippee Ki Kimo Savvy.
the RoboCop TV edit was intense.
It's like you're expecting like
Yeah.
everything. You're like,
Oh,
half this film's gone. It's like,
what was it?
there's the new Mike Myers series that's came out. What the
Austin
hell is
Powers,
it
Mike
called?
Myers?
Austin Powers, Mike Myers. He's brought out this new, and I was watching one of the episodes yesterday, and there's this bit where he's sitting down. They're trying to play a game of pool, and you've got one character that keeps swearing. Everyone's swearing all over the time, but then there's bits where they don't swear. And he went, "Hang on, let's rewind this to take out all the swearing." And when they take out all the swearing, it's even worse. But it's done without really any dialogue.
All
And it
right.
is just, it's so beautifully comically done. And it's like the rest is, there's bits in the series that are beautiful comedy, but
No,
then
the,
there's
the
other ones that
funniest.
you're sitting there going, right, okay, this is it's like Mike Myers doing his adult comedy stuff, like proper adult,
All right.
not like Austin Powers, which is like campy adult. You know, adults that still like,
Body.
don't swear in front of me. I don't like swearing. You know, those type of adults.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, the best one though is the Scarface, the American.
Yes, you're right. Dutch film buff. The recent RoboCop was absolutely bullcrap. Sorry, I'm trying
It's
not.
not even worth
I'm
talking about.
Terry. I'm really trying not to swear on your podcast, but I'm like a
Fine.
bottle and a half of wine
That's
down.
okay.
So
All the Kenyans are gone. Oh, they've got. Aye,
it
they're
doesn't
fine.
matter. I don't care.
Don't need to go mad with it.
It's your podcast, mate.
Just
I'm
don't
just
just don't
chilling.
turn it into Scarface. But that's the thing is the American when the
Hello,
television
the Dutch film buff. Thank you for joining.
in the American cut of Scarface on television, it had its swearing taken out, right? And it's on the DVD. I'm not sure which release of it, but they included this where you could actually get a couple of the scenes where they dubbed out the swearing, and in the opening scene where Tony Montana is meeting with the police or the immigration, and they're saying to him, "Where did you get that beauty, Scott? Where did you get that beauty, Scott? Tough guy eating,
Yeah.
right, right?" And he says,
In Lady
"Aye,
Parts, Lady
aye,
Gardens,
right," and
whispering flowers.
yes, right, and he says, in the TV cut, it's, "Hey, where'd you get that beauty, Scott? Where'd you get that
Hello,
beauty, Scott?" Oh,
look at his name,
okay.
Cream Pie Lars.
Okay, would the prequel be better if Obi-Wan was portrayed as a struggling rapist?
No, it wouldn't. But
Uh,
thank you, Cream Pie Lars. With a name like that, that's exactly what we'd expect from you. Thank you.
I don't quite understand struggling. I mean, it's just like, never mind. Anyway, I You've had too
You're
much
still
wine.
good. You're still good at comedy, Terry. Unintentional.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the story of my life, isn't it? It's just
Unintentional
I
comedy.
got absolutely.
Right,
Honestly,
let's get back to sci-fi, man. Because
yeah. Never mind Scarface. Let me see if I've got any more Star
like,
Wars questions. Right.
have you seen the Denis Villeneuve Dune?
I haven't.
The new.
I've only
Oh
seen the
mate,
old. I've only seen the old David Lynch one
you
with
know
the
I
plug.
watched that. I watched that a couple of days before I went to see the new one, and I was like, the
Why?
because I just wanted to see. I watched it a couple of times. I just wanted to see what the old David Lynch one was,
Right.
and then the new one, and it's so then I've got it in my mind what the differences are,
Right. I
right?
see.
But the Denis Villeneuve one finishes halfway through the David Lynch one,
Okay.
like in the
Yeah.
books. In the books,
Yeah.
it's like three books in one, right? But Villeneuve is kind of gone into like making it 3 books in 2 films.
Right.
Because a lot of those when you read the book, the Frank Herbert ones, it's filler. It's absolutely just filler. There's lots of filler just explaining
Right.
what the
Okay.
place looks like. And but the thing is, with film, you can show what it looks like.
Yeah. Just got that guy to fuck, man. He's just making horrible shit. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Obi-Wan was celibate, unlike Lars. No, I think Lars was
Mm.
incel.
Yeah.
His, involuntary celibate.
Mm. Yes. Anyway, what I was going to say is, yeah, well, I do want to see
Yeah,
it,
just
but I think,
like what he said is the cliffhanger ending at the end of the new Dune that just came out
hmm
means that there has to be a second film coming because it comes to a crescendo and then it cuts.
right,
So that means it's going to continue along that and then it's going to go with its flow after
right.
that, which I think is great because I mean this guy is a genius filmmaker. He did the new Blade Runner,
Oh
which
yeah,
is
I
one
loved
of
it. Loved it.
beautiful film. I just when I watched it, I was blown. I had to go and watch it on a 4K television.
Right. Nobody's about. I'm going to have a ciggy, right?
It was
Nobody's going to.
absolutely beautiful.
Nobody's about, Crow. Don't mind if I smoke, do you? I
Not
mean,
at all, but
this.
I've been fucking smoking the whole time.
I know you're vaping. That's different.
It's because I can't put the fucking
I just think it's that
can't do
I'm
cigarettes anymore.
I'm blaming Lars von fucking weirdo, right?
Oh, cream pie Lars.
Ugh, God, that's my
Yeah,
first
you're gonna.
troll.
Is that your first troll?
Proper troll, yeah,
Congratulations, Terry.
yeah.
Congratulations.
Oh, I had I
You're
got my
getting
troll.
trolls.
I
You're
got my troll.
you're getting trolls.
Great.
Now you're big time.
That's it. I got monetized before I got trolled. That's nuts, isn't
Nice.
it? But I know garbage
I
though. It's
the
like
and
50p
then
I've made so far.
what's it? The sci-fi that's coming out. Have you ever watched the Dust on
Dust.
YouTube? Dust. It's called Dust. It's like they get together all these sci-fi shorts that are
Okay.
made by people on you. I no seriously watch that stuff because it's like filmmakers that were like the shit we were trying to do in like the late 90s. There's absolutely no way we'd be able to away with doing with that stuff. Like what we were talking about doing.
All right.
These guys are actually doing it because now the technology is there
Mm-hmm.
to make your what comes from your head and translate it onto the screen. You know, it makes it so much easier because when we were trying to make films in the 90s, it was like late 90s, early 2000s. It's like
What SVHS
SV,
cameras?
SVHS with linear editing, and then it was only like Avid was the only thing that was about, and what was it, Final Cut Pro version like 1 or 2 was out, and it was that was the only non-linear editing thing
Amazing
out.
for its time. It was fucking.
Yeah, we could never have got hold of the money to do any of that stuff, but now it's like my laptop can do it, your laptop can do it.
No, this one, but yeah, I get
Yeah,
them. I get what you mean.
You know,
Mm.
that type of stuff. It's like you have something in your house you can carry with you that can make that shit happen.
I do feel that spark again, though. That this last,
I know I knew that spark was coming back when you started this channel.
yeah,
And that's when I knew you were back. The
it
Terry
did.
I knew the
It came
Terry I
back.
knew like 20 years ago was back. And I was happy about that. It made me
Yeah,
happy.
me too, man.
Yeah.
Me too. It's meant so much to me. It's been a stress, but see when I'm on my A game, I feel good. I feel good. See when I've edited something, it feels fantastic.
Since when you hit your 40s, you don't give a fuck anymore. That's the thing.
It is, and I think it's got to do with Patsy dying as well. I think that it
I
just
love
put
that
things.
woman.
Oh,
I
she
loved your
fucking
mum.
loved you, man.
Yeah.
She really did, man. You and Tam, Tam McCaff and Tam Story were the only ones of my pals that she really
Two
liked.
Tams and one Crow. That was it.
That's it. Everybody else could go to hell as far as she was concerned. And if they're watching, there you go. I don't give a fuck. You know, there's two people watching, Billy and probably myself. So just chill out and chat, man.
Oh, here, Dutch Film Bluff is asking if you own a lot of tapes.
I don't, mate. I know that you do, but I envy your collection. I've got a few. It's if I had to say, it was like I'm like Oscar Schindler now. I've got
Is
a
it
certain amount that I've
was
managed
it
to
the
rescue.
missus? Was it the missus that was telling you to sort of stop taking up so much room?
No, it was poverty, mate. It was.
Oh fuck yeah! Last
I,
2 years in it.
I was on my knees financially, so I had to start punting them, and I did. It was really tough, and but yeah, Dutch. I still got some. You want some? Honestly, and I mean it for real. I've got a lot of old ex rentals. About, I would say, 80 at the most. At the very, that's probably stretch left over. You can have
Is it William Winslow? Is that like Michael Winslow?
yeah. He makes all
Any
those weird
relation?
sound effects.
Apart from the ginger beard, of course.
Yeah, I will get demonetized for smoking on this video. I don't
I
care.
can't say it. No, no, no. It's more than 3 minutes in, mate. Don't worry about it. I
All
can't say
right.
anything about ginger beard. I've got one myself.
Where did that come from? You never had ginger hair.
Genetics, mate. I've always had freckles, haven't I? I was about to
Oh,
have ginger
never had.
somewhere, and it definitely wasn't on my. Well, at the time, you knew it wasn't on my face, but it was somewhere else curly.
Okay. Well, I'll take your word for that. The
You never saw that, luckily.
I don't
Last
have.
chicken in the shop.
I don't really have anything that's really rare, I would say. Um, from the old days, I used to have a couple of nasties. Evil Dead.
What were your rare ones that you had, though?
The rarest one that I came across, right, was a Top of the Pops video from 1981. I got it in a charity shop for 20 pence, sold it on eBay for like nearly 50 quid or something like that.
Oh,
It just went like woof. And
nice.
it was probably the first ever time Top of the Pops was released on video.
Aye.
You know,
It's like what there's a lot of people that love the top of the pop stuff.
and
It's
now
more
you
kind of
get it
that's more
now,
mainstream, innit?
and it was before a lot of these things had been uploaded, so it was kind of.
You didn't have a version of Creepazoids, did you?
I had Creepazoids, aye.
Yeah.
I had Robot Jocks and all. Robot
Robot
Jocks.
Jocks, Creepazoids. What is it? Moontrap? Not
Aye,
the new
Moon
one that came out,
44.
but the old one that was like they went to the moon and then it turned out it's like this mechanical beast.
You know
Moontrap. Is that
a film that
Moontrap?
really scared me as a kid? Galaxy of Terror. It was like an
Aye,
alien ripoff. That
aye.
freaked me out as a Wayne. More than Alien, weirdly. Even though Alien.
Remember Alien Mine?
Mm, Enemy
Yeah,
Mine.
Enemy Mine. Yeah,
I've got Enemy Mine. Dutch. Do you want Enemy Mine?
because that was one of the
I think
first times where that I
big
remember in
box,
cinematic. I remember
beautiful.
in cinematic history where they actually looked at it from the aliens' point of view as well as the human point of view.
It's a
And
remake of.
yeah, it's a remake of like that kind of American soldier versus Japanese soldier thing. What was it? What film was that?
Hell in
Can't
the
remember.
Pacific.
Yeah, Hell. It was a remake of Hell in the Pacific.
Yep,
Yeah, but it was
absolutely.
done with an alien versus a human. Apart from then, there was like a baby involved.
It was brilliant, man. It's brilliant. It's about tolerance, isn't it?
Mm.
It's about
Tolerance and understanding that you're a soldier, and when you've got nothing to fight for, who are you fighting for? When the only enemy in front of you doesn't want to be your enemy, they're the same as you. They're a soldier as well.
it's just that
You're just
it's the way
It's a
that
human condition. Human condition.
it's the way that Dennis Quaid just gets out of his mad cryo chamber or whatever, and he's just determined to go and save that kid from the mine. You know,
Yeah,
you're just like, go on your cell, mate. Go on your cell. Just love that film. And
yeah,
Luke Gossett Jr. played the alien as well. And
yeah.
the bit that freaked me out was that creature that gets him by the ankle in the sand. He's like, just
Oh
ripping his
man.
leg to bits. That freaked me out. Brilliant. Yeah, I love Enemy Mine. Oh, the 80s was great for science fiction, man.
I mean,
Absolutely.
look at one of my favorite films, Battle Beyond the Stars. Right, Seven Samurai in space.
Written
Right,
by
Seven
John
Samurai.
Sayles.
Right, I still remember
Met
when you
him.
got
Met
no,
the
you
writer.
got me Battlestar Galactica, right? You got me a signed card by Boomer, the
Aye.
original Boomer.
Herb Jefferson Jr.
Yeah, and I'm
Who
sure
got
I've got it somewhere. I can't think where it is, but I know it's one of my fucking prized possessions of all time.
oh, he was a nice man. He was a
I've
really
hidden
nice
it so
man.
well. I've hidden it so well. I can't remember. I can't think where I've hidden it.
Yeah, he's a nice man. There's a great television series that he was in called Rich Man Poor Man from the
Mm.
70s. You need to see it; it's amazing. And Nick Nolte, that's what made Nick Nolte a star. Was
Aye.
this show? And Herb Jefferson Jr. plays Nick Nolte's pal in it, and he gets sexually assaulted by William Smith. You know
Okay.
William Smith, the guy that played Conan's dad in
Aye.
Conan.
William Smith.
This is his
Yeah.
most famous role. He plays this bad guy called Falconetti, and he beasts fucking Herb Jefferson Jr. in it. And at
Poor,
the time I met
poor
Herb
lad.
Jefferson Jr., I never seen Rich Man Poor Man, but I probably would talk to him more about that. Not that I would be like, oh, what was it like
Oh,
getting beasted?
other than what was the other one? Fucking something beach.
It's Sunset Beach. He was in
Sunset.
Sunset Beach. Yeah, because he had all these photographs of all the shows that he'd been in.
Mm.
Battlestar Galactica was the only show that I knew him in. And he had this one where he was wearing a blue policeman's uniform. It's like, oh, what's that show? And he went, I don't know if you guys got that over here. It's just this soap opera I did in America. It's called Sunset Beach. And I just, just like,
Oh
I just
no,
couldn't.
he was dead serious about it.
He was, I know, and I was laughing because
Dutch film buff. One of the first things that me and Terry ever bonded over
Buck Rogers.
was Buck Rogers in the 25th century, because I told him that my first crush ever, the first time I ever got a twitch in my nether legions, was because of
Erin Gray,
Erin Gray. Yeah,
Colonel Wilma Deering, who still looks
yeah,
amazing, by the way. Still looks amazing. And I, God rest him, we Felix Silla, Twiki, he
yeah.
passed away a couple of years
Bidi,
ago.
bidi, 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 bidi.
I watched loads of their Q&As
Yeah,
together. Him and Gil Gerard are hilarious together. So they are. They just take the mickey out of each other. But but yeah, I love Buck Rogers. I got the box. I've still got the box sets. The second season, I love that second season. I know it was a bit off the charts with the Searcher, but have you ever seen the one with the Satyr where Buck gets bitten by this guy? This Satyr is like a,
oh,
it's like a
the
kind of
space vampire.
no,
No.
it's the one with Buck. He goes to this planet, right? And there's this guy that's almost like a kind of fawn sort of character, like
Oh
a kind
right,
of
like
beast,
yeah, okay,
the
okay, right.
satyr, right?
The like the satiricon, the satire,
No,
satyr, yeah, the satyr, yeah.
satyr, aye, and he gets bitten by this guy, and he starts to change. He goes all wolfy with like this fro hair and all that. Oh, that episode, that
Getting the
was
horn.
that was one of those ones that I saw later on that I just realised, oh, I'd never seen this one before, and it was just an absolute peach. Oh, I really love Buck Rogers. It's brilliant, and that's one that needs. It's been in the pipeline for so long.
I would
To
no that you asked me earlier on about a remake. I think Buck Rogers in the 25th century.
Yeah.
As long as they did it, but these days it would have to be. It wouldn't be as campy.
Ugh.
You won't have that where everyone's dancing with the string lights. But the music was the music was brilliant. The music was the modern vernacular fire, right?
The Dutch is saying his first crushes was Alyssa Milano on Who's the Boss and Elizabeth Shue in almost everything in the 80s. Have you seen Link?
Yeah.
Have you seen Link from 1986? Dutch, where she's getting perved on
Ask
by.
my question. I need to go again and refuel
Okay,
and defuel. Give me a minute.
enjoy. I'm just gonna. Yeah, Dutch. Have you seen that film Link from 1986 with Elizabeth Shue, and she's looking after a house full of chimpanzees, and they've got this orangutan dressed up to look like a chimpanzee, and it. That's right. Yeah, and the chimp is perving on her. Well, the orangutan dressed as a chimp. Weird. It had potential. You could see that film. They put a lot of effort into that movie, but you kind of, I don't know, it just didn't work as a horror film for me. It was a bit uneventful. Own it on VHS and DVD. Awesome. So I know that they just brought it out on like Blu-ray just a couple of years ago. That for the very first time. But yeah, I still enjoyed it. I still think it was an enjoyable watch. It just wasn't scary. Can't make orangutans look scary. They just look so chilled out, those creatures, right? And it was a bit of a wasted effort. I'm just trying to see if I've got any other cool tapes to show you. Uh, Nothing really ancient. I mean, I've got the original UK release of ET, of course, right? And the funny thing about it was a Canon flick, yeah. Shakma. See, I've got Shakma, but I've not watched it. My favourite monkey one is Monkey Shines, George Romero. I think that the way that that film portrays disability is just exemplary, and it's just a great movie. Have you seen that one, Monkey Shines, Dutch? See, the funny thing is that in this country, ET it was the film that started up the Federation Against Copyright Theft, who are kind of like the FBI in America that deal with video piracy. They did a survey in the early 80s, and they found out that that the most popular video of that year of 1982-83 was E.T., and it hadn't been released. The video itself didn't come out until like 87. 87 was when E.T. first got released on rental. I don't know why they held it back for so many years, just because I think because the film was so popular that it was never out of the cinema. I think that might have been the reason, but at the same time, they realized that most people were watching it on a pirate video, so they got this governing body, the Federation Against Copyright Theft, who started, and they would bust people for pirating videos. I actually, when I was in college 20 years ago, interviewed a guy from the Federation Against Copyright Theft. It was all right. It was interesting, but the video that I made, because I made a documentary about video piracy, and it wasn't very good. A lot of the videos that I made back then were rubbish. To be honest, I don't know if I have any left, but they're embarrassing to watch. Is there a different version of Project X? The only one I know is the Matthew Broderick one with Virgil, where it's like, does this? That's the only Project X that I know. Mac and me didn't like it. The one thing I did, I mean, I do appreciate that the kid in it actually was disabled, for for real. Not that they actively disabled a child to put him in the film, but it was nice to actually give a disabled child a part in a movie, a leading part in a movie. But yeah, Mac and me, I
Talking
remember it
about
came.
Mac and me, yeah.
Yeah, I remember it came out in like '89, and
I went to the cinema to see that.
oh, see, I
I
didn't.
remember that.
Went
It
to see
was good.
Last Crusade instead. Much better film.
Because
Shut up.
the Mac and me, the entire like the animatronics and the stuff they used reminded me of what was that one? Um, where the kids build this like mad little round thing and then they go into space. And
Oh,
then
the Explorers! I
the
love the
Explorers.
Explorers.
It
Ethan Hawke.
reminded me of the Explorers and see the aliens on the big aliens on the ship and the Explorers. Mac and me reminded me of the
Yeah,
exact same. I think it might have been the same artists, but I'm not sure
the
because
female one, the
it was the
female
same.
alien.
It was
I
the
had
same
that
big cheeks
cheekbones.
with a little mouth and then the eyes. I think it was Mac and me might have been the same VFX, the special effects artists.
I loved the Explorers, but it always kind of felt like it was kind of half baked. It didn't look like it was fully formed. It looked to me like the film ran out of money.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
probably,
mean? It
yeah.
has that kind of vibe that the movie just ends. It doesn't really. It doesn't have a great denouement. You know that it
A
deserves.
denouement. Yeah,
Aye.
it's like it wasn't like the Goonies because the Goonies had a definite thing all the way through it. It was just, I mean, Goonies is one of the
Aye.
perfect films, you know.
Yeah. The Goonies is great because all the characters are great.
Mm.
Not just the kid characters, the adults as well. Like the villains are
Everyone that was involved in it, they played the characters well. It felt well.
yeah.
And I don't know what's happened a lot these days with a lot of the kind of script writing and stuff like that is that they keep missing out on character building.
It's too many cooks that spoil the broth, mate.
Yeah,
It's been this way for a while where I've said it in one of my videos that they go through so many rewrites that by the point that it comes on the screen, it's been through so many different cooks. There's a great book by William Goldman, who's a legendary screenwriter. He wrote The Princess Bride. He wrote the screenplay for Misery and All the President's Men. He's a legend, right? He's dead now. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. He wrote that as well, right? And the famous phrase that he says in his book is "No one knows anything." In Hollywood, no one knows anything
no,
because and it's the people that are in charge of the studios are former agents, right? They're agents to the stars, right? That get put in charge of a studio, and they don't know anything about movie making. They know about cutting deals and getting big paychecks for actors
yeah,
and stuff like that. They're good at that.
they're all good at producing, but they're not good at creating.
They're good. They're good at organizing and getting famous people on board, getting talent on
Aye,
board. But when it comes to the
producing,
actual
that's a producer's job.
when it comes to the actual creative process of making a film and understanding what a director needs to do and what the actors need and the cinematographer needs, they don't understand that, and that's what made Canon. Even though Canon made some daft films and they made some crazy risks, they were filmmakers. They
Mm,
actually were. Menachem Golan, regardless of his talent as a director, he was a filmmaker, and
he
so
made them properly. Yeah,
when he sat down and talked to other directors that he was hiring to go off and shoot a film, right? They would know what they were talking about when it came to mise en scène, the two shot, the close up, all these different terminologies. They would be able to understand that as
yeah.
opposed to just going, I don't know, just put more boobies on the screen, right? That's that's the
What we
difference.
what we need, kid, is more tits.
Because the thing in remember Magnolia, Paul
Yeah,
Paul Paul Anderson film. I remember when that came out, and apparently the reason that because that's a strange movie, right? You wouldn't expect
yeah.
that to come out from a major sort of studio or anything. I think it was New Line Cinema, but apparently
Crash was a similar one as well.
the the reason that film got made was because Paul Thomas Anderson's agent became the head of the studio.
Aye,
right? So he gave him carte blanche. He's like, "Oh, I'm your agent, so you want to make this crazy film that nobody wants to make? Yeah, go for it." And
Make it.
the same thing happened with Queen of Katwe. Queen of Katwe. You need to see this movie, by the way, if you've never seen it. It's
I've
a
not seen
Disney.
it.
It's a Disney film. It's about a chess champion who comes from a Ugandan slum, right? And
I've got Disney Plus. Is it on that?
it should be. It's
Yeah,
perfect.
I'll look for it. Yeah.
Honestly, I know it's one you might on the surface it might look like one of those cheesy sport movies that you've seen a million times, but it's so well made.
All those boring chess films.
Exactly, and it isn't. It's
Like
far from
Queen's
it.
Gambit. I was like, I thought they stopped making these films in the
It's
fucking
far
60s.
from it. No,
Yeah.
I've got a review on my channel, so I'm doing a pure plug here. But yeah, Queen of Katwe is
Can I do a plug to the two people watching?
yeah. I of course you can.
UFO Burgers Paranormal Hot Dogs
I'll
is
put
the
a link
YouTube
in the
channel that we have. Yeah.
I'll put a
YouTube
link
channel we
on there.
have is where me and the other host Mac, or aka Mr. Burger, we look at kind of paranormal stuff and UFO stuff, and we usually try and debunk it. You know, because you've got all these ghost hunters and stuff like that. Right now, we're going quite in on the ghost hunters because they are literally going to poor, vulnerable people and charging them thousands of dollars to go, yeah, there's a ghost here, blah 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 blah, and make no.
Just
We
tell them what to
realize
hear.
that we need to put a stop to that, because the thing is even if they try and sue us, they'll never be able to, because
Yeah,
we know they're
exactly.
faking it. They know they're faking it, and
Exactly.
all spawned from like one ghost channel, and then everyone found out how they made it. So now they're all making all these ghost channels, and it's like I usually just sit there and rip the hell out of just the guys themselves with how they
Mhm.
speak and how they look, because it's funny, because I find that shit absolutely hilarious. We've also I'm one of the creative producers for the Mr. Burger Show. We're starting to bring out more and more like shorts where it's like Mr. Burger. We get all these kind of food related things, related characters, and we put them in situations where it's just like you're in prison, what are you going to do? You know, so we write the narrative and stuff like that. So the Mr. Burger Show and
You send me the
UFO
link and
burgers,
I'll pop it
paranormal
in the
hot dogs.
description and
I'll
I'll put it in
send
the
you the link.
comments. Yeah, I'll get it. I'll get it up
Exactly.
there for the
You're
replay.
right. You're right. You're right, Dutch. No, they're well, the stuff we've seen isn't real. The stuff we've seen is not the stuff that people peddle out there and try and make people believe is not real. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to take away the fake stuff. And if anything comes along I can't explain or Matt can't explain, we just go, we don't know what it is. We can't explain it. Nerd Nation. You're right, boys. Thank you, Billy. Nerd Nation.
What's Nerd Nation?
That's the umbrella company that runs both channels.
All right,
Nerd
okay.
Nation. It's Nerd Nation Media LLC.
All right.
I'll send you the links. I'll
I,
send you
I'll, I'll
links.
I'll I'll give it a good binge, man. But what was
Nerd Nation. Yep. I do a lot of stuff with them. I do a lot of the writing with them. They're based in Dallas, Texas. Yeah.
cool?
So they have their own writing as well that goes along with that stuff.
All right. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's a good target to have because yeah, I'm Vivi's daft on the UFO channel. She watches this guy. I call him Hillbilly Beard. Kind of has a beard like you, but but yeah, I don't know what the guy's name is, but it's just all these ones that they constantly show that same footage of the that F-15 following the flying saucer. That
Oh yeah, I mean
over and over again.
that's the hardest one to debunk, because the video footage on it's so low quality.
Always is, isn't it?
It's very hard to find
You know,
the cuts.
can't.
But there's a lot of, yes, Mr. Burger Show, Nerd Nation, Mr. Burger Show, and the all the other stuff that comes with it. We're also writing a 90-minute film called Dispatch, which is a horror film.
Oh, sweet.
And it's one of those ones where it's like kind of just writing that down, people will get brutally ripped apart.
Oh,
But
lovely.
I'm writing the character in a way that you actually see it from the character's point of view, because I was inspired by Devil's Rejects by White Zombie.
Right.
Rob Zombie, sorry.
I know what you mean.
Devil's Rejects by Rob Zombie, because when you watch that film, you start feeling for these psychopathic, social, like absolute maniac murderers. You start feeling for them. You're like, oh, they're
Is that a
quite
good
funny.
thing, but is that
No,
a
no,
good thing?
but that's the thing is it's written in such a way that you start going, oh, they're actually real people. They're doing it, but then all of a sudden, like 2 minutes later, they're killing somebody. You're like, nah, I can't. These I can't relate with them. But for a moment, you felt as though you related with them through the comedy, through the other stuff that happened. I love that kind of writing. I love that kind of writing where you're sitting there going, you're watching it, and then you start to go, oh, that character is actually quite funny. And then 2 minutes later, they're killing somebody. You're like, oh wow, wow.
See, I don't think that's healthy. It's not healthy to to invite the audience to empathize with psychos.
I think it is, because it gives more depth to the character, that like even if they're a psycho, there's going to be one part of their
All right, okay,
character that you can get
yeah,
along with. It's like
yeah.
the guy who interviewed Ted Bundy, right? He got on really well with him. He's like, Ted Bundy is a person to talk to. He's scary, but when you start talking to him without all that stuff there, you can say, yeah, he is quite charming. I can understand why
I
that
know, but
stuff happened, but
here's the thing.
I can't understand why he would do what he did.
But here's
Nobody can understand what
but
he
but
did.
the thing is
Yeah.
I think personally, I think too much. These people get too much attention, and that's kind of what they crave. Somebody said this on Instagram the other day, actually. That what's the guy, the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez. That it's like, yeah, is it a deterrent to give these people cool sounding names? No, I think that just encourages more of it. It's like, okay, I'm a sad incel, and do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go out and kill a bunch of women, right? So that I'll have this infamy, right? Have
Yeah.
this infamy, and then you watch documentary after documentary. I don't know how
Yeah,
many
they've stopped giving them,
dramatizations.
in the past like 20, 30 years, they've stopped giving them names. They've just went, this is the person. We're not even going to try and show a picture of them. We're not
No.
going to, and it's
Because
usually the
it
media.
encourages more of them.
It's usually the media that comes in and goes, oh, we got a picture of the mass murderer.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then, oh,
And then
we're
it's
going
like,
to
oh, there's another one.
we're going to film the court trial, and it's like a lot of times when it comes to these people, it's like we don't want this person's face out there. Stop it.
Because
Yeah,
it's like
because
how much.
then they become a martyr to inceldom. You know what I mean?
I know, but it's like the media gets so much mileage out of like the Manson trial, the OJ trial, all these like dastardly deeds, right? Now I know it's fascinating. It's like curiosity, right? That people want to know. And you go to a bookshop, and I don't know how many books about serial killers that you get. How many dramatizations there has been of Ted Bundy's exploits, right?
You know how
There's
many
you.
books I've read about that stuff?
I don't know.
Loads, absolutely loads. And there's some of the books that kind of, it's as if they kind of they kind of make their deeds a lot more poetic than they actually were.
Right.
It's as if they're kind of giving them some kind of like boosted
That's
up
what
kind of
that's what Natural Born Killers
villainy.
did. Natural Born
Yeah,
Killers was
and
about
but
that.
then there's the other books that just go exactly with the hard, cold facts about what they did. They're the ones I prefer, because you're like, okay, this person is a bad person, and this is what they did. This is how they acted, and it gives you a little bit more into the human condition, because when you meet somebody like that or similar to that, you get a kind of cold shiver down your spine. You're like, I don't want to be around that person.
Mm.
I just don't. I just don't like you. Instantly, when you instantly don't like somebody or don't want to be around them. Sometimes you get that feeling with people.
Yeah, sometimes I would say 90% of the time I'm wrong. I've met so many people that have been sound as a pound, and it's just me and my paranoia that's got in the way.
Yeah, but you're more of an introvert though. You know what I mean? It's like, well done, you had the world. The introverts like yourself, you got to control the world for the past 2 years. I'm sorry, Terry, it was shit. Introverts got to control the world for 2 years. It was shit. Thank you.
I don't understand.
COVID, everyone was stuck indoors. Nobody
Oh,
was
right.
allowed outdoors. You know, there was no groups of people coming together. It was like introverts got to control the world.
I
Yeah.
suppose we're the only ones that will survive it because we're like, you
You,
know me.
you,
You know
you,
me.
you would
I
rather
like my space. I like my
you would
space.
you would rather not have too much human contact.
No,
No,
no.
exactly. So you had the world for 2 years.
I don't mind it. Like this. This is good. But
I'm what is it, 1,600 kilometers away? So
yeah,
it's
no,
fine. There's
no chance.
1,600 kilometers between you and me right now.
Yeah, there's no chance of you popping a fuel from there. No way.
Terry, you know I can't help it. Every time I see you,
Oh,
I
oh,
just
bless.
I just want to feel them lumps.
Those man boobs, aye. Mm.
Right, but anyway, I think we better fucking shut this down.
Yeah,
We've got
it's,
one more call I need to do before I need to be quiet because my wife is going to sleep. She's got an exam in the morning,
oh
so
yeah, it's later there, and it's 11 o'clock, man. Isn't it?
aye,
Wow.
it is. I don't want
Aye,
to be
well,
speaking
it's
for
been
too
fun.
long until my
Sorry,
daughter's
sorry,
ears switch
wasn't
back on again.
sorry it kind of steered off the walk the beaten path there. You
No, no,
know, I
no.
was,
We were talking about sci-fi for long enough. Now we've got two people watching. Thank you, Billy. And is that Net's blog or is it Dutch Film Buff that are still left?
I don't know.
Let
I
us
have no
know. Is it
idea.
is it Billy and Dutch Film Buff?
It doesn't really it doesn't give you a proper score, these things,
I
you
know,
know.
I know, I know. But
I mean,
they're the
I'll be
ones.
able to have a look and see how well it's done. Bear with me.
But Billy's the one that's been talking to us.
Aye. He's not too far from me. He's up in where is it you stay, Billy?
He says no introverts did not control the last 2 years, but everyone got to live like an introvert. Yeah, you're right, Billy. It was shit. Sorry.
Are you busy tomorrow, Crow?
Aye, I've got a
I've
few
got
things to do.
I've got another guy coming on. Going to
Aye.
talk about Candyman. I'm going to watch Candyman again. I haven't seen it in quite a while. The original
Which the
'92 one.
original? Yeah, I've not
Aye.
seen the new one yet.
The new one's good. It's a proper follow
I
up
was I
to
was I
the.
was I was put it off until because I can't those type of films I can't watch if the kids are going to be awake. You know, it's
Mm,
one of those films I have to watch by myself.
mm. It's not too scary. The new one. The original was way scarier. But
Aye,
yeah, the
now the
and I
cat's
think I
going
think it had
mental.
to do with Tony Todd. Tony Todd, his voice. I think his voice. Whenever I see the guy in other films, even I'm just like Candyman. You know, brilliant.
Who's the Candyman this time round?
Well, it kind of spoils it if I tell you.
No, 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 tell me.
It's the main character. He becomes the Candyman
No, no, no.
by the
I'm
end of the
actually
film.
asking who the actor was who played Candyman. Who the actor is?
And the
Which
new one,
actor? Yeah, yeah.
Yahya Abdullah Mateen II, his name is. Same guy that
Are you?
played Doctor
Oh,
Manhattan, and
he's fucking great.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he's
it's kind of
yeah.
in the same tradition of the first one, where she
He's
kind of becomes the Candyman at the end of.
yeah. But
That's kind of happened to him.
Yaya is just he's one of those like serious. He's got that face. It's like
Yep.
stone.
He
Like
gets a few humorous bits in it.
perfectly
There's
fucking
a funny.
formed.
There's a couple of funny bits in it actually. I think he was good in I liked Aquaman. I know it was daft, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
it was meant to be, right? I mean, how can it not be daft? It's got an octopus playing the bongos. Come on, right? Right? A film's got an octopus playing the
Every
bongos. We're not going to get pure upset about
every single one of the DC films that's came out has been garbage apart from the Batman ones.
that. All right. That's it. I don't.
It's
Vivi's
like
daft on them. I don't really care.
but the new
That was fine.
Batman one was actually quite good. I watched it like 3 hours. I watched it and I was like, this is good. the actual characters and how they build up the actual villains and stuff like that, great, absolutely great. And what's his name? What's his chops?
Patterson.
Robert Pattinson was actually a very passable and good Batman.
Cool. I've got it. I need to watch it.
3 hours. 3 hours. Just put some time aside and get some popcorn.
I'm not that pumped for it though. I'm kind of off the superheroes. It's just
But
I think.
I watched on HBO Max. My nephew's in that film, so I had to watch it at some point.
All right, cool. How
My,
did
my
I
brother's
know Glasgow
my
appears
brother's
quite a
boy,
bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's my brother's boy's in it. My nephew, he's in it. He's been in quite a few films, so
All right, all right. How is your brother anyway, Fraser?
he's all right. He's good. He's good.
Do you
He
ever
gave
hear
me
from
yeah,
when you go?
he gave me a book series to follow. I don't know if like Billy will know this one. Um, I'm actually really enjoying it. Really
It was nice
enjoying it.
talking to you, Dutch. Thanks for coming. That was probably like he's
Dutch,
probably
thank
going.
you. Yeah. Galaxy Outlaws.
Galaxy Outlaws.
Um,
Is that not like a
yeah,
kids' cartoon? Oh, that's the Galaxy Rangers.
but Galaxy Outlaws, and I've got the entire uh where is it? Where is it? The entire Black Ocean collection. It's on Audible, right? I don't know if
No, I don't have
you're
Audible.
monetized by them right now, but Galaxy Outlaws, JS Morin, and I've been listening to it, and it is great. My brother told me about it because he's a truck driver, so he spends hours just going from one place to the next to one place to the next. So all he's doing is listening to audiobooks all the time. And
All right,
this one, Galaxy Outlaws, is great. It's like space western.
all right.
Yeah,
Like, do you know what I liked? Firefly, Serenity.
yeah. I
I
loved
like
it.
that.
I loved it.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to think that Firefly the might have been based on the whole Galaxy Outlaws.
All right. That
Yeah.
came first, yeah.
And well, now listening to Galaxy Outlaws, I'm like, yeah, a lot of sci-fi that's coming out now is very much based on this style.
Right.
But obviously in Firefly, there's no aliens. Galaxy Outlaws, like some of the main characters are aliens.
Fantastic.
But I
Wow.
recommend it, Terry, if you need an audiobook to listen to, Galaxy Outlaws.
Yeah. So you're
Yeah,
going to be
I
back in
think you'll enjoy
Scotland
it.
in October, November,
No, I'm coming. Me and the family are coming over in July. First 2 weeks of
July.
July. Yeah.
Cool.
I've told my work is like, even though it's the busiest period for pyrotechnics and like live events,
Right.
I've told them is like, no, I promised my family we're going on holiday this year. This year
To
we're taking two
Scotland.
weeks.
Wow.
Well, it's the only time we've had. Like, to you, it's not a big deal because you live there, but to us,
Hmm.
it's a big deal. It's like my boy wants to go see where he was born. Madeline wants to see everyone because we're going to meet up with old friends like HM and all that. Going to
Which
spend
Egyptian?
time with them.
Oh, Helena.
Yeah, HM. You always know I called her. I don't want to put her name out,
All right.
but we're all meeting up at some point, and then I'll give you a call when I'm over.
Okay. That'd be
Yeah.
nice.
Do you or the missus drive?
No,
Okay.
we
Right.
just drive each other up the wall. That's on a daily
So
basis.
I'll let you know when we're in Glasgow. Okay. So you and
That'd be
missus can
perfect.
come along. Yeah.
That'd be
Because I
lovely.
think we're going to bring the kids into Glasgow to go to the Transport Museum and the Kelvin Grove Museum and stuff.
Yeah.
Give them
That's,
cultural experience of Scotland.
oh, yeah. That's that. Take them up to Castlemilk. Get them a
I
half
just
queue.
the only time I want to come into Glasgow is during the day to do all the cultural stuff because I don't want to do any of my old bad habits.
Mm. You know, you've got to go to Africa, my man. Honestly,
I've been to
Kenya was
Namibia. I've been to
Namibia.
Namibia.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Nice one.
Namibia was a lot of fun.
I bet.
It's just one of my favorite times I've ever had in my entire life was sitting on a sand dune, and the guides just went, "Look, we can't leave you here." I was like, "Can I just sit here for half an hour?" And I went, no, we can't leave you here. You're not going to know where you are. And I went, look, you're going in that direction, right? I'll follow your footprints down the sand, and I
Mhm.
can't imagine the sand's going to change until the next sand dune, so I can follow your footprints from there. There's like 6 of you. And they went, all right, okay, he knows what he's doing. And I sat in a sand dune for half an hour, and it's the first time I've realized how damaged my ears were. And this was
Why?
in 2003. Imagine how more damaged they are now from doing all the pyrotechnics and special effects
Right.
work, right? But back then it was just like it's the first time I ever heard nothing.
Right.
I
All
knew what
right.
nothing. I knew what nothing
Have you
sounded
seen
like.
Have you seen
That,
Dust
that, that,
Devil?
that- for me,
Oops.
that's important. Nothing. What nothing sounds like. It was beautiful. But actually, I started crying until I heard a fucking beetle scraping across the sand. And then when I told it to shush, it was one of those sun bleached beetles
Right.
in this red sand, sun bleached beetle in the red sand. When I went shh, it stopped, and I went thank you, and it because I could hear it scraping across this fine sand. But when I told it to shh, I can't. For me that was like, come on, just let me have this moment. You're
Yeah.
ruining it, you little
I know.
fucking. You little beetle that's like been bleached by the sand, bleached by the sun. But this was like, I don't know, I'd say about like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning in the Namib Desert. Because we had to get there before the sun started rising, because then we had to get from one place to the next before the sun got high. Because as soon as the sun got high, it was going to get like above 42, 45 degrees Celsius. And we're in
Right.
the middle of the Namib Desert. It's like, and I'm like
Right.
this, like
Feel,
even paler, but and I'm
yeah. Wonder
freckles.
Bread.
I'm like two or three chromosomes away from being albino. You know what I mean? It's,
Yeah. You should have seen me when I was in Nairobi. I was the grain of salt in
it's
the coffee jar.
yeah. Sorry, two or three lines of DNA from being albino, right?
Oh, no, it's great. But Namibia really, yeah, I'd love to go. After I saw Dust Devil, have you heard of that film? I did a review of it in December. It's a horror film
I
set.
never got a chance to see it.
Well, check it out. It's like a 10-minute video, but the film is good.
I'll check it
Richard
out.
Richard Stanley, the same guy that made Hardware and
Oh yeah,
Color Out of
hardware as
Space.
in the body mod
Aye,
horror. Yeah.
this. Oh, hi, Retro Hawk. Wow, thank you for showing up.
Evening. Thank you.
Yeah, hardware is like a kind of evil robot piece of junk thing. I've never seen the full film. I've seen parts of it, and it looks amazing.
It's
But
like a body modification horror. Yeah.
it's a horror with a killer robot. But the Dust Devil was really good because it's got an actual African mythology about it.
Okay.
Here's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
sort of African,
I like my folklore. Yeah.
and they film it in the Namibian desert. It just looks spectacular as well. It's a gorgeous movie.
Namibia. I mean, the desert's probably the most peaceful places in the world that I've
Mm,
ever been to. And
mm.
it's, I mean, I've been to mountains and hills all over Europe, but as soon as I got to Namibia and sitting in a sand dune, you're just like, is
What
this
brought you
for
there?
real? Just 2003. It was me and Micah and another
Right?
friend. Um, we went there.
How is Micah?
Uh, I've not heard from her for a long time.
Right.
Yeah,
Uh,
off
nor I.
social media. Off social media.
Off social media?
Yeah,
Right, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Did
Well,
she get the did
last
she get the full
I
meat and
know she's a lot.
potatoes?
I know she's a lot happier. Last time I heard from her, I was doing a tour around Sweden, and I was in the same city she was in at the time, and I went, "Look, I've got you tickets. I've got you plus one tickets to come and see this show," but I never saw them. So
All right. Uh,
it's a shame. I want to see Micah being happy. So at the end of the day, that's what's important.
yeah, I want everybody to be happy, but I'm not very good at it.
Not everyone has the ability to be.
Aye.
but you can
But
always wish happiness on others. That's
thing
what
is,
true happiness comes true happiness from comes from giving other people happiness.
hmm, some don't want it though. But here's the thing: is happiness is a temporary moment of insanity, just like
Yeah.
sadness, isn't it? It is just fleeting, you
Thank you,
know.
Retro Hawk.
I should check out his channel. It's amazing. It's just all the retro video games, all the old Game Boy
Oh, is it
games
all
and
the
stuff.
the 8-bit, 16-bit
Yeah.
stuff? Nice.
Oh, yeah. The just pure hardcore nostalgia. I'll send you a link to him, man. He's brilliant. And but yeah, I've really enjoyed talking to you, Crow.
I've
I
enjoyed
really
talking to you
miss
as
you.
well.
Uh,
Oh, Terry, I've missed you
absence.
for a long time.
I know. Well, you get to see me all the time. I'm always
As
flapping
soon
my
as
gums.
as soon as we get together, we'll end up just hating each other again. So, fucking
We,
brr.
ne- we never hated each other.
No,
That
we
never
never.
happened. No,
No, it was never hate. That hate was never there. It was just we were around each other too much.
I know. That's it, innit?
I mean, we were living in the same place, and we were working in the same place.
God.
Remember that? Yeah, Ballindalloch Drive, Chorus
Yeah.
Direct. That was
Oh,
mad
yeah.
times.
I know. You just think about. I mean, I still work in customer service, right? And it's not been. I did care work for 3 years, but
Yeah,
uh, y- when you think of the regulations that we've got now, and then you think back then, it was like the Wild West. It was like the
yeah.
absolute Wild West. Those
Oh,
customers were getting ripped off royally
the
back
shit.
then.
Even when we were doing like the asking them questions about stuff, it's
Oh,
just
the
like
surveys.
the surveys that we would the states we were in whilst we were doing the surveys.
Yeah,
You wouldn't even be let through the door, even if you smelt like that these days.
I know. They didn't care. They encouraged it.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
want
Oh, you
you to
getting
be in that
hammered
state.
last night, eh, boys? Aye, brr. I know. It was just such.
I'm pretty sure if you check that guy's blood level these days, like back then it would have been at least like 20% cocaine.
Oh yeah. Were you there that day where he washed his car?
I can't remember,
It
mate.
was it was a
That
hot
was a
summer's
blur to me.
hot summer's day, right? Everybody's in the call center, all sitting around, doing their job, what have you. And the ops manager comes out and he's like, "Where is he? Where is he?" And he's like, "He's
Was that
out
the
there."
Canadian? Was that the Canadian
Guy, the
guy?
Canadian guy.
Yeah.
He's like, out. They're out there. He's like, "Where is he?" And he's like, "He's out there washing his car. He's supposed to be doing his job. No, he's coked out of his mind, washing his car." It's like, whoa, absolutely crazy.
He's
Yeah,
gacked out of his tiny little mind.
it
That's
was insane,
hilarious.
wasn't it? But see what the Canadian guy you're talking
Was his
about? I
name
mean,
Craig? Was his name Craig?
yeah, yeah. Let's not name any names, right?
I'm not going to put a surname on it. So
Yeah, but the Canadian dude, what happened to him was, and I found this afterwards after I'd left the company, someone had bumped into told me what happened to him. He was out at a works night out, and this girl had a corset on, right? She had a corset on, and he drunkenly or whatever, maybe I don't know, he pulled the string over her corset at the
oh,
back,
undid
whole
the
thing.
ties. Oh Jesus!
Yeah, waps
How
fell
long
out
it
and
takes to
everything.
put those feckin' things on?
I don't know. I wouldn't know, but apparently that's what got him sacked. Yeah,
This is
just
before Me
crazy.
Too.
Yeah, way before.
Yeah, way before.
I
Fucking hell.
know, absolutely.
Anyway, Terry, I better go.
Aye. Yep. Really
Love you,
lovely chatting
brother.
with you. Stay in touch,
Love you,
right?
brother. Yeah,
Yeah, love
definitely,
you too, brother.
absolutely. I'm gonna keep giving you heads like fucking big ups on your videos when I watch them.
Okay, that'd be nice.
Yeah,
Aye.
always. I'll support you.
Oh, nice one. And I'm so jealous of you going on tour and all that. I'm honestly green with envy.
Yeah,
I got bitten by the travel bug before all this nonsense, and then
mate. See, when you're on tour, you don't get to see anything. You get to see the venue and maybe the road in between if you wake up in time. But at least you're hearing different accents every day.
I do. I like hearing. Well, I do too.
Yeah.
I speak to people from all over the world, and I love it. I love hearing different accents. I
Well,
encourage it.
It's basically what you're doing is different accents, but at least you get to kind of be there and kind of you're like, oh, is this what this venue looks like? What does it look outside the venue? You're like, do I have time to go outside the venue?
No, like I
Yeah,
suppose.
but that's the life. That's the life. I chose it. It chose me, should I say?
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, so I end the broadcast, right? Well,
In the
really,
broadcast. Peace, love, and happiness, everyone. Thank you
yeah, thank you. I'll
to
be back tomorrow. Hopefully, I'm supposed to be
Billy,
going live again.
Netsblog, Retro Hawk, and whoever else is watching.
Supposed to
Thank
be
you.
going live again with a chap. I don't know, about 7 p.m. or around about that time. We're going to be talking about Candyman. It's 30 years of Candyman, so stay tuned for
I will
that.
try. I'll try and come in for that.
Or
But I think
catch
we're
the
going.
replay. Catch the replay,
We're going at a friend's house who they have kids the same age as our kids, like
right?
almost exactly. So we're going to go and hang out with them. They're not Swedish. They're Canadian and Spanish, so they understand
I'm
that
gonna
it's
say,
okay to have a beer around your children.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah. At least
Old
don't make them
school.
drink it.
No, no,
All
no,
right.
no.
Well,
You
well,
don't. You
say
just
hi
have
to
fun
Madeline.
as long as you walk. Yep,
Say hi to Madeline and the kids for me, right?
I will do, Terry.
Have a wonderful weekend. Same to
You say
everyone
hi.
out there.
You say hi to the missus and send them a love.
I will. Thank you.
Peace, love, happiness, brother. And
Peace.
people are watching. Peace, love,
Bye
happiness.
bye.
Bye bye.